I'm in the historic city of Bathurst, where gold was first discovered in Australia. It's now referred to as the place for motorsport racing, and this weekend we can enjoy the ever-growing Liqui Moly Bathurst 12-hour. It's well and truly entrenched on the international racing to-do list. Get ready for what will truly be a world-class event.
A big race needs big drivers, and this year's Liqui Moly Bathurst 12-hour has them from all corners of the globe.
I expect really challenging racing, a little bit similar like Nürburgring Nordschleife. That's everybody told me before. It will be really impressive, and that was even impressed me more. It's difficult because there's so many cars on the track. I mean, every time when you're coming up to the part, you need more and more time. There are slower cars in front. That means you cannot adapt yourself to find the limit.
It's going to be a tough race. Yeah, it's 12 hours. You have to survive 12 hours without hitting anything and making any mistakes, and other guys hitting you, avoiding problems, having good pit stops, and no mechanical problems. There's so many things can go wrong in 12 hours. So. And in GT racing, 12 hours is actually a sprint race. You just go flat out from start to finish.
It is a tough track because the top sort of 3K through the mountain there is just, you just don't know where you're going. You're going down into the S's. It looks like you're going into space because all you can see is the sky. You've got a V10 behind you. You're going fairly quickly up there, and then obviously you drop off the edge of the world down into the S's and down the dipper. So it does take a lot of learning. It takes a lot of practice.
It's unique and it's difficult to learn basically because there's so much traffic. So to get a clear run on the top of the mountain, it never happened to me yet. So I don't know exactly what speed I can go in each corner yet.
It's a really challenging racetrack. I did heard a lot about, and I had to offer in 1988 to do the 24-hour here, but I had to drive Formula One in that time, and I missed this race. And this race I was still missing in my whole career to do, and I'm really looking forward now for the 12-hour race because it's such amazing racetrack, and with this car, it's so much fun.
From what I've seen so far, it's up there with the best events in the world. Just everything, the TV, the spectators can come in, the fans can get really close to the drivers, and that's what motorsport needs. Motorsport needs that connection between the fans and the drivers, the teams.
It's just an awesome racetrack. It's not like a modern fashion racetrack with runoffs and where you get amazing safeties. Things here you have to be really careful with whatever you do. If you want to go a bit quicker, you have to know it works, because if it doesn't work, it's getting very expensive.
You can't underestimate any corners on the circuit or any part of the track. You've got to be very vigilant. You've got to be very aware of what's going on around you.
I think there's a lot of guys who wanted to come here, and they just have no clue how difficult this track is, and they have no idea what kind of race this is. But there's no circuit like this anywhere in the world. It's a very unique place.
There are 8 classes that make up this year's field in the Liqui Moly Bathurst 12-hour, catering for just about every type of car you can buy on the road and some that you can't. It starts with Maguire's Invitational 3 for big banger X V8 supercars and sports cars like the Daytona Coupe. Maguire's Class Invitational 2 is for the baby burners like the Seat Leon Super Cooper, all the way from Spain, and the famous Mazda RX-7. Maguire's Invitational 1 is the domain of a factory Peugeot team that features V8 supercar stars Jason Bright, David Wall and Andrew Jones, and there's a Lotus Elise from overseas as well. In Race Fuel's Class E production performance, it's a BMW versus Holden battle, the venerable 130i taking on HSV's VXR Astra. The Class D V8 race production high performance class is the age-old fight between four-wheel drive turbos and big rear-wheel drive Aussie V8s like the Ford FPV GT and Subaru Impreza WRX STI. There are more than 20 GT cars entered in the race this year, and the baby GT class is the Ridge's Class C GT4. It includes cars like the Lotus Exige, Nissan GTR and, very rare, Aston Martin Vantage. Pedigree Class B GT3 is indeed filled with pedigree, the pedigree of Porsche. There's 8 separate 997 Cup cars entered this year, with a host of famous names and leading lights in this class that can often upset the more outright contending cars. Those cars compete for Class A, the Durrell Lee GT3 outright battle. There are 18 cars from a multitude of manufacturers like Audi, Porsche, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Corvette, BMW and of course the famous Mercedes Gullwing. It's an incredible field with the latest specification GT cars from all around the world. They'll be fighting for outright honours in the Liquimoli Bathurst 12 Hour. Liquimoli are new to the Bathurst 12 Hour in 2013, throwing their support behind the event the year that it takes off.
The part that excites us, this is truly an international event. When you've got this many international teams and drivers, it's really exciting stuff. Like, people haven't seen the calibre of these drivers in Australia before at all.
Keeping in mind that your brand's on the car behind us, who do you like for the weekend?
Yeah, it's hard to not have a tip on this direction, but look, these guys will have their work cut out for them. I think bringing a new car out, new team, this is not an easy place to dial into. I think there's some, the Audis are going to be very hard to beat. You've got two fairly rock and roll Mercedes up the other end, so it'll be a very interesting race.
Qualifying for the Liquimoli Bathurst 12 Hour was also exciting. On pole position was Tim Slade, Lee Holdsworth and Peter Hackett in the Erebus Motorsport Mercedes. Lee Holdsworth setting a great time of 2:06.27 to go within 0.2 of a second of the benchmark time allowed in the qualifying session. The David Calvert-Jones, Alex and James Davison Porsche was fastest in Class B, with the Simply Sports Cars Lotus Exige quickest of the C-Class GT4 cars. In the production car battle, it was the Sharon Rentals BMW quickest in Class D and the Racer Industries Holden Astra fastest in the baby car class, Class E. Meanwhile, Jason Bright, Mal Rose and Rick Shaw were quickest in the 3 invitational class battles. However, perhaps the biggest story of all was Alan Simonson breaking out, going too fast in the Ferrari and copping a 50-kilogram penalty for the race in the process. Here's Grant Boyden with one of our 3 pole sitters, Peter Hackett from Erebus Motorsport.
Peter, first pole position here at Mount Panorama. First of all, how's the tummy?
Yeah, it's fine. I've put on a little bit of kilos over Christmas, Boydo, but...
I was referring about energy. Are you stressed? No, seriously, are you stressed coming into this, knowing that you're the guy that's going to set the pace in these opening laps?
You know, it's really funny because normally as a driver you are anxious at this point. Your earplugs, balaclava, the pit lane's just been open, but I've got teammates this time around, so it's a really strange sensation. You know, as a team Erebus Motorsport, we're really proud of what we achieved yesterday. We've got a long day ahead of us. We're under no illusions there, but is there pressure? No, Timmy's a seasoned professional. Lee's right there, and my job is to keep the car straight.
Having known you for so long, one thing I can guarantee is you're not a guy that drives a seat very well. You want to be in a race car. Is it frustrating having to sit there and have somebody else start, as far as you're concerned, your car on your race day?
Yeah, there's a little bit of me that says I'd like to do all 12 hours on my own, but the reality is, you know, if we can spread the load and take a little bit of pressure off each of us, then we'll be better at the end. Importantly,
any issues overnight that we need to be made aware of?
Yeah, we had to clean more bugs off the front than we wanted. There wasn't quite that Mercedes AMG Zen that we thought.
Good on you. Have fun out there.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thanks to Boydo in pit lane. He will be a busy boy down there today. The grid starting to clear as we count down to the start of the Liquimoli Bathurst 12 Hour. There's Craig Baird. He's chatting to his Irish co-driver Matt Griffin, and Bairdo will start the Clearwater Ferrari. These are the German side of the Erebus Motorsport equation. And there's the Aussies too. So Tim Slade to start, car number 63, Peter Hackett talking to Lee Holdsworth, who has been so impressive this weekend. Back a little bit in the Maguire's Invitational class, there's Jason Bright. He will start, one of the 2 Works Peugeots entered in the race this weekend. So the scene set, the local team, GWS Motorsport, Peter O'Donnell, Andre Heimgartner, amongst others in the former race-winning BMW, looking strong. And then Alex Davison to start, the car that he'll share with his cousin James, and expat Australian David Calvert-Jones. A really strong combination in Class B as the Darrell Lee safety car leads the field around on the warm-up lap. Now the clock is officially counting now, so technically the race has started. The Liqui Bathurst 12 Hour for 2013. And it's Mercedes, a couple of Ferraris at the very pointy end of the field. A lot of the pedigree Class B Porsches, 8 of them in that field. This is one of the New Zealand-based motorsport services team. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we go racing on the mountain for the Liqui Bathurst 12 Hour. Mount Panorama Bathurst did 6,213 metres of the toughest bitumen around. To help show us around this place, we've enlisted 2 champion race drivers. We start with 2-time Bathurst winner, John Bowe.
This is turn 2. This is the start of the tricky part of the circuit. You brake desperately late from 250 kilometres an hour. It's an early turn in, very early throttle application. You use all the road, right out to the pedigree sign, and hope not to clip the wall, and it's a very important part of the first segment.
We're at Solomon Park. This is where this track gets really tricky. In the Ferrari, we're coming up here in 4th gear, flat chat, changing into 5th gear, 250, 260 kilometres an hour, all the way up into Skyline Corner. This is where traffic is a problem. There's very slow cars up here, very fast cars. This is blind turns. This is where the adrenaline gets pumping. This is where the track gets really, really tough.
Solomon Park across the top. It's very, very easy just to step it out too wide, grab the wall. See, actually the leader very, very close to that spinning car.
We're at Skyline Corner, a place we approach 5th gear. From 5th down to 4th, 3rd and 2nd until you approach the dipper. It's a no passing zone. It's one of those places you approach at very high speed. You see a slow car coming up, very frustrating because it is really a place where you can't pass. Good thing about our car, the Ferrari 458, it's got ABS brakes, so when you're coming down here, you don't have a fear of locking up your brakes like you might see in a V8 supercar, and it's fast, and it's one of the places that I really like.
We're now at Forest Elbow, the corner that leads onto the most famous straight in Australia, Conrod Straight. It's a 2nd gear corner, not that fast, but it's downhill, slightly off camber. You make a mistake, you hit this wall here, obviously you're out of the race. The straight has speeds in excess of 300 kilometres an hour, and it's got lots of undulations, so the car moves around quite a lot, and it is the best place to pass because it's easy to pass on the straight. Here we are at the West Track Chase, the end of Conrod Straight. It is the fastest corner in Australia and possibly one of the quickest corners in motor racing. It is a serious corner, but it's taken flat out, top gear, 300 plus kilometres an hour. The road is quite bumpy. It's settled over the years and the car moves around, jiggles, bounces, but the downforce in these GT cars pins it to the road, so it's more a mind over matter thing. You go very, very deep down there under braking, back into 3rd gear, and you're towards the end of the lap so you can start to breathe again.
Well, there's few better people to show you around this great racetrack than a man that's won the great race twice, John Bowe, and the fastest ever man in a GT car, Alan Simonson. Great chauffeurs of Mount Panorama. These cars stretching all the way around this circuit on the formation lap before we get the green flag for a rolling start in the Liqui Bathurst 12 Hour. The grid is an exciting one. It's Mercedes on pole, then a couple of Ferraris and a Lamborghini. The first of the Audis from the Network Clothing team goes from 5th place. John Hindhoff is alongside me, and John, you're excited about this race.
Get your backsides, trackside, everybody. Here we go. We're going racing at Mount Panorama for the Liqui 12 Hours of Bathurst. The safety car pulls into the pace car as it is now, pulls into the pit lane. It will become the safety car if we need it again. It's a pretty decent lineup as they come down towards the left-hander at Maguire's corner and onto the Liqui front straight.
Tim Slade in the Mercedes, Mika Salo in the Ferrari, Craig Baird starting the Clearwater Ferrari from the 2nd row. Green flag out, thrown by a representative from Liqui in Germany. Good morning, and thanks to Liqui for their support. 12 hours on the mountain.
Peter Baumann with the green flag from Liqui Moly in Germany, and we're racing it down the inside. There goes the Clearwater Ferrari into Hell's Corner, exactly as we thought earlier on. A little sneaky move there out of the sunshine. He's got through to second, but it's the Erebus Mercedes that takes them up the mountain straight for the first time.
Tim Slade leads the Liqui Moly 12-hour up Mountain Straight, but great start from Craig Baird. Need to see where he jumped in relation to the green flag, but he got past the Maranello Ferrari, and I think our thoughts about Clearwater wanting to lead early are very, very true. Good start from the second of the two Erebus racing cars as well. The 36 entry with Alexander Roloff behind the wheel. He has made a good start and he's running in fourth place. Then we go back to the JBS Lamborghini with David Russell starting. Some side-by-side, the AF Corsa and GB Galvanising Lamborghini cars going side-by-side into the cutting.
And it did look like Mika Salo was trying to make a move there at Mountain Straight. And did you see how Beardo was sitting right in the middle of the road going up to Griffin Bend? He didn't want to let that 50-kilo heavier car go by him because he wants to put pressure on the bends in front of him as they go over Skyline for the first time. Take a deep breath. No time to look at the scenery for the next 12 hours for the drivers, but awesome pictures coming to us from the top of the mountain as it's still the pole-sitting car that leads down through the dipper for the first time. I can't believe I'm saying these words. That's awesome stuff. Already these big GT3 cars are piling on the power. And remember, they've not seen the circuit this morning other from one reconnaissance lap. And for sure, they are not heat in all of those tyres. Everything's not up to pressure. The times are just going to get quicker for this first 20 minutes or so.
Up into fourth place is the other Mercedes as well. He was got the bit between his teeth very early on there with Alexander Roloff going very strongly. The second of the two Mercedes, the one with the yellow trim rather than the purple, or is it the purple people eater? I'm not quite sure what the yellow peril one is called, but they've certainly, the two Mercedes getting a good start, and they're fairly well up. As you can see on the screen there, back between the two Audis, that's the United car, I think.
It is, really good start.
Which has made a good start. The number 23 car, John.
And Rob Huff passing Rod Salmon into the kink as well. So the World Touring Car champion starting the race in the Audi. One lap down and times starting to trickle down. But a good start by Tim Slade. Good, clean first lap as we watch David Russell just dicing with Alex Roloff in the second Erebus car. Good start from that car. It's gained some ground. Just tucked in behind Mika Salo as they run up the hill. But this has been a very good, clean, controlled opening first lap from Tim Slade. He knows about this. First couple of V8 supercar podiums, a good run of podiums at the end of last season, and his first pole position as well. He's the coming man in V8 racing, and he'd love to start his season off with a win here at Bathurst. There's the Corvette, so that's out on the racetrack. Great to see.
Thank you. Well spotted. Roloff, Baird, Salo, Slade, Russell, Quinn, Premat, Richards, Wyatt, Darrell O'Young for your top 10, and here's the battles further down there. That is on the right-hand side going into Griffin's Bend in place. Lost then for the Mark Patterson-driven 23 United Autosports, the white, red and blue Audi R8 LMS. But at this time, you've got to pick the battles. You've got to pick the battles. There's no sense in trying to close the door on somebody, particularly at that point of the circuit, Rich, where all you're going to give yourself is a load of grief and the guys downstairs a load of work early on.
Interestingly enough, the timing monitor is showing, as we see the 56 Sayat coming into pit lane, the timing monitor is showing the two Mercedes actually reversed with Roloff leading and Slade fourth, but it's definitely the 63 car leading the race, so it is Tim Slade.
Even as I said that, I thought that wasn't right.
A little bit strange. I'm not too sure what's going on there, but I'm sure timing and scoring will work that out. But Roloff is under pressure from David Russell, who is hugely experienced around this place. Multiple Bathurst 1000 starts to his credit, and he is the best man to start this JBS Swift Lamborghini. Really strong combination. Roger Largo's been good. And what a disappointing story for GWS Motorsport. They're based just down the road in Parkes in New South Wales, about 100 k's away from here. And that has just been a horrid weekend. They got Stewart's dispensation to start the race last night.
Former winner overall.
Yeah, absolutely. Twice.
That car, I spoke to the team yesterday evening to ask them what was wrong with it. They've had electrical problems with that car since last year's race. And it got so wet that it's never recovered properly.
The battle for the first and second goes down to Hell's Corner. Let's keep a quick eye on this. Is there going to be a dice for the lead as they go up the mountain straight? Well, not into Hell's Corner. Let's head down to the pit and Grant Boyd.
Yeah, just a quick update on the 56 car. An engine miss has brought that in at the end of that previous lap. Team working on it, but they've got no idea what the problem is at the moment.
But Mark Pilati bringing that car into the pit lane, but the battle at the front. Has anybody told these guys that this is actually not a 15-minute sprint? We've got 12 hours of this still to go. Well, 11 hours and 50 minutes, and already they're at it like
This is
a couple of puppies in a bag.
This is as expected, and the last couple of years we've seen great fights for the lead and a couple of lead changes in the opening hours. Incidentally, on average, 27 lead changes over the course of this race. It's a kind of random stat.
At the start-finish line.
Counted at the start-finish line, correct. And that's an American thing we need to follow on, because that's how they score it, but there's often more around the course of the lap, and very much in a 6.213k lap here at Bathurst. So good start from Baird, and I thought the Ferrari was the faster car, and it's showing to be true at the moment. I think in a dogfight, the Ferrari will win on raw speed. I think it's just got a couple of extra tenths than the Mercedes. Where I think the Erebus Motorsport cars will be better is over a race distance and in terms of fuel and pit strategy. And already lap traffic playing a role in the race, and Tim Slade has a very close moment with one of the Motorsport Services Seats coming out of Falcon Tyres' elbow, had to jink to the left and then to the right when the Seat didn't know which way to go, and now Craig Baird finds himself in the tow of that big AMG SLS Merc.
So I thought it might be 3 laps before we hit traffic. It's actually only 2 as they go down through the chase and head under the Liquid Moly Bridge. And there will be in little bit of clear air.
So this is a big moment.
That's a big squirrely moment there for Slade as he picked the outside and then had to go back the inside. It would have been so easy there just to loop the car, because you're trying to tighten on the exit of the Falcon Tyres elbow. And he's actually done a pretty good job there to not only keep the car on the track, but to keep the lead. The Ferrari, under braking, looks a little more stable than the big Benz. Ferrari with the engine in the middle, the Benz with it up front, of course. And at the moment, that looks to be where the advantage is, right under the rear wing as they go mountain straight up that hill that is so deceptively steep in real light. He's going to have a look into Griffin's Benz.
Down the inside goes Craig Baird, winner in Porsche Carrera Cup here last year, beat your old Bleekemolen to that win, and the Ferrari takes the lead, the first official lead change of the race. And
get by the start
at the start finish line, Craig Baird goes through, and the Ferrari just up the toe. The Mercs have got so much torque, but that's the aero effect, and we've talked about it all weekend. They're running less wing than they've ever run here. They've taken all the aero out of the cars, so they're quicker in a straight line, and the Ferrari very squirrely across the top, but already Craig Baird with 5 or 6 car lengths over Tim Slade, and the 4-time Australian Carrera Cup champion driving away in a Ferrari, incidentally. Let's have a look a little bit further back in the field. This is the Motorsport Services Porsche, one of 6 cars the New Zealand-based team has got entered in this weekend's race. They're based out of Hampton Downs, in the new circuit in New Zealand on the North Island. They had a really strong performance here last year. Now, the Class B Porsche dicing with the Donut King Nissan GTR and the Ridges GT4 class. So, a bit of a class mismatch here. This is a good early battle. It's just racing up and down the pack here in the Liquid Moly 12 Hour. Let's just have a listen to the Porsche as it dices with the Nissan GTR across the top of Mount Panorama. While we're watching this class battle with interest, Paul Trustwell's been keeping an eye on the front of the field, and things starting to shape up, Paul.
2 Mercedes versus Ferrari battles going on as the lead change at the start finish line that Krelzy wanted.
It's an official Trustwell change now.
It now can be noted.
Excellent, and Craig Baird with that sets the fastest lap of the race by a good 1.5 seconds with a 2:07 flat, and he's going to go lap record chasing very soon.
The 27 BMW is rolled backwards out of its pit box and will join the race in about 20 seconds time from the end of pit lane. It's lost a couple of laps or so, the little 1 Series BMW, mainly black car, as it is Craig Baird that leads the race. I've got to tell you, for me, Slady might have just closed up a little bit, and that's the effect of the ebb and flow of traffic on any endurance race, and he's caught traffic in exactly the wrong place as the leader. He's going to have to look down the inside of the dipper. He won't get it done, and all of that hard work in that 1.5 seconds is evaporated in 100 metres.
And remember, Craig Baird gets to the traffic first, so he's the pioneer, and by the time he gets through them, they know that they're going to have more traffic coming up with the leader clearing them, so that works in Tim Slade's advantage. Just before, we saw a change for position for 7th and 8th place, with Stephen Richards passing Harold Primar in the Phoenix Racing Audi. So the GB galvanising Lamborghini taking one step forward with the two-time Bathurst 1000 champion behind the wheel. So traffic already playing a role, and that traffic cost Craig Baird almost a full second in that first sector and second sector of this 2 minute and 7 odd second lap. So that's the ebb and flow that you spoke about, John.
Yep.
And that's going to be like that all day long.
And breathe, everybody. 15 minutes of the 12 hours gone, and we simply can't keep up this intensity for the whole race, except nobody's told the drivers that. It is Craig Baird leading from Tim Slade. Thank you, timekeepers, well done. From Mika Salo in third position. He's nearly 3 seconds further back down the road. Then it's Roloff and Russell who are having a decent battle in the 36 Mercedes-Benz and the number 11 Lamborghini. Then the first of the Porsches, and it's Clark Quinn in 6th position, and he's got a little bit of a battle on his hands with Steve Richards in the 48 car coming in up behind him as well. And those two are the leading rear engine cars, the two Porsches now back up onto the mountain through the cutting for the leading Craig Baird, and it's like a video game as he goes past one of the XR Holden Astras, then a BMW. That's the hired car that's from right underneath us here, and this time traffic has played into the leader's hands because he made a very, very daring manoeuvre between two of the touring class cars past the RCZ Peugeot as he goes over Skyline, and all of a sudden all that hard work that he did before that evaporated, it's fallen back in his hands. You live by the traffic, you die by the traffic, and he has managed to eke out that lead again as he comes down to the very tricky Falcon Tyres elbow, which he takes in a sort of middle ground. We were talking about the inside versus the outside, and Craig Baird, who, well, I'm not second guessing him, to be honest, Rich. He's taking it down the middle of the road as he goes past one of the Ginettas.
Last time around, Craig Baird 2:09.9. Tim Slade 2 minute 13.0. He lost 4 seconds in one lap, getting bottled up behind the Astra and the BMW at the top of Mount Panorama there. So it'll just ebb and flow all day, but Erebus Motorsport will be under control of that. And the team manager, Ryan Madison, will be on the radio, and the engineers working down there to make sure that their drivers are under control there. Second and fourth at the moment. Roloff still under pressure from David Russell for 5th place. Clark Quinn is 6th in the Porsche, then Stephen Richards 7th in the Lamborghini. Prima 8th in the Audi. First of the Audis, only 8th at the moment. That's remarkable. Greg Murphy 9th, and Wyatt 10th in the A, of course, of Ferrari.
And going backwards, Richard, that Audi losing ground on that previous lap there to the GB galvanising Lamborghini. The other battle which is one to look out for is,
well, hang on, guys,
is the way that
got an incident up on the mountain, and it's one of the Porsches has gone around. There's at least 2 cars involved as they're coming up the cutting, and there's a huge amount of smoke there. Can't even identify the cars at the moment until that clears. I think it's one of the Mobil sponsored cars that's gone around. In fact, and also is that the 38 car that's in there as well? Oh, and there was a Ferrari.
That's the Maranello car too.
Absolutely, Ferrari involved in it. It's lapping traffic. And the Porsche tipped off right, and it's the Ginetta, number 38, one of the AGT cars, the silver Ginetta, that had nowhere to go. And let's take another look, courtesy of our replay. The Maranello car tries to squeeze drivers right, and
yeah, Mickey Salo got very aggressive going up the hill and went to the outside, and I don't think the Porsche anticipated that. He just squeezed him down and made contact.
Is that Marcus May in that car?
I think it might be, John. Yeah, he seemed to be moving to his right in order to avoid a car that was coming up on his left, and that was where Mika Salo was coming through on the inside.
Safety car too, so.
Pretty inevitable safety car coming out.
So teams taking advantage of the safety car to get some pit stops out the way. We can go back down to Grant Boyd, and he's got more news from GWS Motorsport. Boydo.
Yeah, we've seen the 27 car come into the pits a couple of times, which has been disappointing for Alan Shepherd. Alan, can you tell us what the story is?
Well, we've been chasing a bit of an electrical problem all weekend, and last night we replaced all the coil packs on the car, and it just appears that 2 of those have failed again today. And all you can do is just keep putting in proprietary parts, and we're really looking forward to trying to get this race happening for ourselves now. I've been here 7 times with this race, and we're not going to stop.
It always throws the unpredictable at you, Mount Panorama. We've got some mess to clean up. The cars are under the Darrell Lee safety car conditions. We're going to take a break from the mountain. We'll go back racing when we come back. Here are the Liqui Bathurst 12 Hour. Welcome back to Mount Panorama. It has been an exciting start to the Liqui Bathurst 12 Hour. John Hindhoff, this race has been exciting so far, and we're not even a couple of hours in.
You really have to come here if you're listening in Europe, in the States, particularly if you're listening in the Middle or Far East. Get yourselves down here for this event. It is superb. And here's something else I didn't expect to hear this weekend. As we go back to green, the first car across the line is the Daytona Coupe. And sounds fantastic. 1, 2, 3, 4 cars. The Aston Martin, the St. Gallen car, has the leader right up the inside now as they go down towards the left-handed corner that is Hell's Corner. And that was a nice, smart piece of driving by Chris Porritt in the white Aston Martin. Had a huge moment on top of the mountain yesterday. The onboard footage was immense. And Chris, who's a very, very experienced Aston Martin driver, indeed their development driver for road car, was a little chastened when he came into the media centre yesterday. The leaders have gone through.
Yeah, spinner as they came round behind the safety car at Maguire's corner, and it was the Maxi 48 Seat. Didn't touch anything and stayed out of trouble. That's the number 70 car. Has got going again. The car that was started by Sam Fillmore, and as I say, he just I think probably just lost it as the safety car pulled in, and he tried to take that last corner just a little bit too fast. Meanwhile, going up onto the mountain at racing speeds once again, John, and with 40 minutes of the race gone, but they'll run at least an hour on the fuel because of that safety car period.
I think I saw the right-hand wing end plate of the 60 Lotus was missing there as they came up the hill. It shouldn't slow them down too much, as Mika Salo is leading from Tim Slade in second place, then Roloff. It's the two Mercedes-Benz then hunting as a pack at the moment.
And Slade quick early on, and Mika Salo didn't have the outright speed that Tim Slade had in that first little 20-minute portion of the race before the safety car. So my expectation is we see, absolutely, but we see Tim Slade close up to the back of the camouflage Ferrari if he can see it and manage to work his way past. But that's in the future with the two Mercedes hunting them down. So Salo the leader and has cleared that Daytona, as have the two Erebus Motorsport Mercedes. Clark went up to 4th, Murphy 5th in the Corvette. Darrell Young, the leading Audi now. He is going along nicely. And then we go back to Rob Huff, who's 7th in the number 14 car. Tony Quinn 8th in the GT only race, and that's Quinn. That is Tony Quinn.
He's got off in the 77 Aston Martin right on the fastest part of the circuit. There's 2 cars involved.
Oh no, the JBS Lambo involved.
Yeah, it is the number 11 car, and that is Russell at the wheel of that car. There's wheels all over the Conrod Straight. Driver's left is the Aston, driver's right is what's left of the Lamborghini, and Tony Quinn's facing the wrong direction. Everybody's checking up as the field goes through. We're going to have another full course caution. There's a Porsche off there as well. There's 2 cars off, in fact. There's the Porsche number 71. So, oh my goodness me. Watch the top of the screen if you can see the pictures at the moment. It's 3 wide coming down the hill, and it starts a long way back. It's Chris Porritt's involved as well. Chris Porritt in the St. Gallen Aston Martin. So the 2 Astons, and Chris Porritt's got right-hand front damage to that car as he pinballs down the outside, and Tony Quinn behind him.
Big hit for Quinn too, but this is the replay from on board Chris Porritt's car. So there's the impact of the Lambo squeezing through. So David Russell up the inside, big contact for that car. And then Porritt is just a passenger. It looks like broken steering on the V8 Vantage Aston and comes to a firm hold. Let's go to pit lane. Here's Shay Adam with Peter Cox.
Peter Cox, this is your second time to this track, but you have yet to race in it. You'll have to wait another year, unfortunately. What happened out there?
At the moment, it was very difficult to see for us at the TV, so we don't know exactly what happened with Dave. Main thing is okay. And it was a shame because I think the team was on a good strategy, and I think if the fuel stops would occur, we would have been in the lead. But that's how it is, and it's very unfortunate. I think the team did everything right this weekend till now, and it's really, this race is like this, and you have to have also a little bit of luck, and we don't have it.
Will you be back next year to try again?
Obviously, I mean, I progressed already a lot because last year I only did 2 laps in free practice, and now I had a chance to qualify the car. I qualified it, I think, really well. I was P4. I was really happy with my performance, and so at least I can take that back, and I really would like to come back to this track because it's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's full speed down here, I can tell you that. I was just about to have a chat with Trevor Schumacher, Michelin Tyres. Unfortunately, had to run off. A lot of the teams are struggling at the moment, saying there's a lot of debris out there on the circuits, and that's causing issue at the moment with plenty of these tyres. Throughout the day, as of course you know, guys, the temperature's going to change from the cool conditions this morning to about midday, 1 o'clock, where we're probably going to get our maximum temperature. The teams have to be right across their tyre pressures right throughout this race, because once they send them out there, they can't bring them back in to nobble those temperatures down. At the moment, though, at Mount Panorama here in the past, we've seen issues with ripple strips. Not the case today, but the debris out on the track, particularly from that crash on Conrod Straight, the fastest part of this circuit, is causing an issue for many of the teams. They're worried about punches, so watch this space.
It's going to be something to take care of over the course of the race, Boydo. Here's how they run at the end of the first hour. It's a jumbled up leaderboard with half of the leading contenders having stopped and the others remaining on the racetrack during this safety car period. But Mika Salo and Maranello Motorsport leading the way, and they lead the way in. Darrell lead Class A as well on our Michelin leaderboard. You can see the class leaders here at the 2013 Liquimoli Bathurst 12-hour, right down to Melrose leading Invitational in his Holden Commodore.
And bringing you bang up to date now, as I was mentioning before we went through the Michelin update there, number 88, Mika Salo still leads the motor race, but the car that's the one to look out for now, I think, is going to be the 3rd place car, the Audi R8 number 1. Harold Premat started it. He's made a pit stop. He's got a tank full of fuel, pretty much. You can see him there on the screens, and he's sitting very handily placed, 3rd place overall in this race. But once we go green, then he's got the most fuel. He'll be able to stay out the longest. And the other cars that have made pit stops are all quite a long way back, particularly the number 33, the Dragon Speed car, and so and also the number 88, Mika Salo. That car is going to have to be next to pit because he hasn't been into the pits at all as they go green flag racing again at the start of lap 18.
And Salo got a great jump away there, didn't he? He was really on his mettle. You can't be snoozing. As soon as you see those lights go off, you've got to be ready to go racing because there's traffic to be passed. There's no wave arounds. The Darrell Lee safety car is back in the pit lane, and now it's all about that concentration level. You've been sitting there for a while, humming a tune in your head, picking your fingernails, whatever it is that drivers do behind the safety car, and now instantly you've got to be back on it.
As Rob Huff makes a move, just working his way up, the World Touring Car Champion, reigning World Touring Car Champion, doing an outstanding job early on. The point Paul Trustwell makes about cars needing to pit soon, this is now pit window open because generally it's between 45 minutes to an hour. We've got to an hour, but we've had half the race so far in a safety car, so they would have used less fuel and they will go longer into the race. But generally 22 to 26 laps is a pit stop window for these cars around Mount Panorama. So that Ferrari now out in front in clear air for at least the next lap and a half before it gets to some lap traffic will be able to put its head down, try and build a margin, and if we go to green flag pit stop, it's going to work for Mika Salo. He'll be out in front.
Yes, it will, but of course that is the heavy Ferrari, the one with the 50 kilograms on board. So that will affect its fuel consumption. You know, you can drive the car as fast as you like, but you'll be using more fuel because of the extra weight.
Yeah, and let's just remind everybody the reason that car's got 50 kilos is not out of sheer devilment from anybody. That Alan Simonson broke out of the 206 bracket, which is in position to keep everybody in the field, and the drivers knew it, and he didn't quite get his delta time right as he came round through qualifying. 50 kilos applied to that car, and they will carry it for the whole race. I do think it's smart. We were talking about smart tactics from some of the other teams, including the Clearwater Racing Ferrari, the 33 car, earlier on. I think this is good tactics from the 88 team, to be quite honest, as we've got side-by-side racing down the Conrod Straight again with the two Erebus Mercedes-Benz absolutely together, and right in behind them there is the Squirt One World I think he said Aston Martin for no reason at all. Audi R8 LMS, and the battle of the German manufacturers here. We haven't talked too much about the BMW Z4 that is in this race, and they have just been stealthing around the bottom end and outside of the top 10, still to find some performance for that car. At the moment, the pride of Germany and the battle on the Liqui Moly 12 Hours of Bathurst is all between the big German manufacturers, behind that camouflaged Ferrari of Mika Salo.
So Salo leads, yeah, and the BMW second. Christian Poulsen, not probably known massively to Australian racing fans, but he is an unbelievable talent. So he's got that car up to second for the event sponsor Liqui Moly. Primat third for Audi, so Ferrari, BMW, Audi. Davison fourth, Alex Davison, Porsche Carrera Cup champion, full-time V8 racer, is fourth outright in a Class B Porsche. So they've just continued to pound around, and they've got track position nice and early. Patterson in the United Autosports Audi is fifth. Wyatt in the AF Corsa Ferrari up to sixth. Johnny Reed seventh in another Class B Porsche, the Hunter Sports Group car. Rob Huff is eighth and doing a very good job in this early stage, as you'd expect from a world champion in the Audi. O'Donnell ninth in the BMW. Tim Slade 10th in the Erebus Mag. Now, while we've been watching and going through the leaders, this is our Class D leader, the V8 race high performance production car class leader. Grant Ian and Michael Sharon just having a trip through the gravel at Maguire's corner, but they will live to fight another day.
Yeah, so I just mentioned, as we were mentioning a moment ago, Class B, the GT3 cars being led by Alex Davidson, car number 12, the Porsche GT Cup car there in fourth place overall. In Class C, which are the GT4 cars, the leader there is car number 54, the Donut King Nissan GTR, Peter Leemhouse, in the lead of that class, and he is in 26th place overall. In Class D, the faster of the two production classes, that's the province of the number 19 Sherin Rentals BMW 135, and that car is in 34th place overall. And the Class E leader, the less modified of the production classes, that's the Racer Industries car number 3, the Holden Astra, which has Damien Ward behind the wheel at the moment, the car that Evo Brokers will be sharing later on as well. That car is in 37th place overall. As far as the invitational classes are concerned, the leader in Class I3 is the number 44, the Melrose Racing Holden VY Commodore, now in the hands of Adam Wallace. They've had a pit stop and driver change in 19th place overall. In I2, the leader there is the number 55 Motorsport Services Seat Leon Super Copper, and that is Clint Harvey, who's driven the car since the start of the race, although that car has had a pit stop as well. And in Class I1, the leader of the I1 class is car number 60, the One Cova Motion Sport car, the excellent Lotus Elise of Peter Story.
There's the 88 Maranello Ferrari in pit lane, and Shay, it looks like that car's got some damage on the front end, that front corner.
It does. They have tape prepared if they need it, but it honestly doesn't look too bad. The car just has a little bit of scraping on the wheels and on the tire black, but other than that, the car looks to be in fairly good sorts. Miko's just getting out and belting up his co-driver. I'll try and grab a word with him soon.
It looks as if they are only going to fuel that and send it, Shea, despite the fact that there's damage on the wheel rims. That car sitting at the moment waiting to be fired up. They didn't get that car out perhaps as quickly as it should have been. The driver change done, but it was fueled and no tyres, despite the fact that there was clear damage and scuffing to those wheel rims on the right-hand side as it avoided the Porsche Ginetta incident earlier on.
I'm surprised in two fronts. One is that they've only done refueling on that car, although clearly with green flag pit stops, the pit stop costs you more time.
Yes.
So you can kind of compensate there. The other surprise is it's coming as early as it has. Now, okay, we're an hour and 20 minutes into this race, 24 laps completed, but of those 24 laps, 10 of them were behind the safety car.
Let's head back to the pit lane. Grant, what do you have for us?
You saw the 51 car come in and have some work done on it. Garth Walton's with us at the moment. Garth, the car felt okay to you, but a problem?
Yeah, we just had to come in for a pit stop after the first restart. There was a bit of contact between myself and a Porsche on the pit straight, and the car was okay the first few laps. The second safety car, we swapped drivers, and Andrew's just complaining it's pulling a little bit to the right, so just want to come in and check everything and make an adjustment and send him back out. Hopefully it's all good.
If it's pulling to the right, obviously you're going to get massive tyre wear on the right rear, which is something you don't want here at this place.
No, exactly. We don't want that at all. So nothing looks bent. We just made a little adjustment. Hopefully it fixes up. We'll press on for the rest of the day.
Thanks, Carl.
No worries. Thank you.
Bordeaux down there with Garth Walton, very experienced campaigner here at Mount Panorama. Molly Bathurst 12 out, a couple of starts to his credit. Here's the Trofeo Motorsport Chevy Corvette. This car has been very fast all weekend, especially with Bathurst legend Greg Murphy behind the wheel, but a big crash in qualifying one yesterday. Saw it in the wall up at Falcon Tyres elbow. Quite substantial damage, but this is a well-resourced team, and they've been able to get that car back together. Still able to qualify 11th Murph with a 2:08.6. And, of course, former F1 star Ivan Capelli and Jim Manolis sharing the driving duties. More from pit lane, ex-F1 driver Mika Salo with Shay Adam.
Mika Salo, that was your first stint on the mountain. What was it like?
It was easier now because I had no traffic. I was on the front, so I could lap my own. And now I know the circuit, finally. So now I'm okay for the rest of the race.
You had a little bit of contact with the car fairly early on. What happened there?
Now, we were fighting for lead. I think it was late in the car. And I could see he had the brake and had to go on the left on the Porsche. And I decided to go on the right. And because I guess he saw Slade first and he started pulling on the right. And I had nowhere to go. So he squeezed me between the wall and himself. And our car's fine. It felt okay. I was just a bit worried after that coming first time down the hill on a full speed if something falls off the car. But it feels fine.
You have 50 extra kilograms in the car. How much of a difference does that make?
I don't know. It definitely doesn't help. So it would be a little bit easier if there was no weight on it. But it was our own stupidity to get the 50 kilos. So we have to pay for it.
Great first stint. Good luck with your second.
Thank you.
Peter Edwards has taken that car over, and you'll remember we talked about that car not getting any tyres, never mind the right side tyres, which are nicely white-walled after the coming together with the wall going up the cutting, and you've got some more information.
Yeah, I got a secret team insider down there at Maranello. I just got a sneaky text message from him or her. I'm not going to say either. I don't want to give the game away, but they're going to double stint tyres all day. They're very comfortable with the working life of their Michelins over the course of this race, that they can get through double stinting tyres all day. And that just saves them a little bit more precious time in a pit stop. Remember, you can only refuel or change tyres. You cannot do them both at the same time. You can do them in the same pit stop, yes, but one has to be after the other and refueling first. So that is a crucial thing. That could save them over the course of the day, assuming we're going to run green for the rest of the day, which we won't, but that could save them 3 or 4 minutes in total pit stop time. Paul pointed out before, there's a black flag being shown at the start and finish straight. We can't actually see what the number is at this stage. Anyway, Class D Ford in pit lane. So first of what will be many stops for fuel, John. They're not particularly economical, the big Aussie V8s.
The Liquid Molly BMW just sliding by the number 71 Audi there as they came down. It's the Equity One mortgage fund car. So that Liquid Molly car that we were seeing has not looked really in its element this weekend. Very quick down the tubes though. Very, very quick indeed on the straights.
Sounds cool. So that's the first time we've seen the Z4 GT3 in Australia. We've not had one race here before.
Astounding.
And there are a lot of BMW fans. BMW has a wonderful tradition at this place, dating back right through late 70s and especially 80s, with the very famous JPS BMWs that Frank Gardner prepared. Jim Richards drove them. They never cracked it for a Bathurst win until the Super Touring era in 1997. This is the Class I3 Invitational Battle. The New Zealand shower shop Subaru WRX STI. Stu Owers, Lewis Scott and Tony Burrows behind the wheel. These guys with plenty of endurance racing experience over at Hampton Downs and the 12-hour race there, amongst others. Great to see the Kiwi connection here in the Liquid Molly 12-hour. And behind them, Rick Shaw just coming up to pass them as well. But Paul Trustwell's been doing some maths on our leading cars. And Paul, you've noticed something about the Australian Erebus Motorsport Merc.
What I don't quite understand is why the Tim Slade 63 car is able to consistently lap faster than the 36 car. Whether that's something that they've done with the setup of the car, or whether it's something else just to do with driver familiarization with the circuit, I don't know. But that gap, remember I mentioned a while ago, it was hovering around the 8-9 second mark. It is now up to 16 seconds, so that's gone up.
And a problem for the 81 Audi that spun at the bottom of the chase. It is the chase, that, isn't it? Yeah. That's it.
Eric was driving that car.
He'd just been making up positions as well, guys. Dropped back into 11th. He was up into the top 7 at one stage.
That's got a tyre deflated on the left rear corner of that LMS Ultra. Here's a replay. So watch the Audi. Big moment. Tyre goes. Huge moment through the chase. 270 odd k's an hour. And watch it surf out the other side and just missed by the Porsche. That is a wild, wild moment at the fastest part of Mount Panorama. Here it is from the Porsche. There goes the Audi. Spinning, spinning, spinning. And then just across in front. Fortunately, Lux is able to limp the number 81 car that's joining us all the way from the US of A.
It's the 88 car that's gone around, and that, I'm afraid, is Peter Edwards, who has made the mistake in the Il Bello Rosso Iveco camouflage machine. He snags first gear, difficult to do if you stall the engine with the sequential boxes. Now gets it up into second and gets back underway.
That's the leader just behind them. They're about to go a lap down. So here's a look. Is this the same as what happened with the Mosler? It's not, because he was passing the Audi. So they were dicing. He just went in too hot and did a complete 360. But at the end of this shot, you'll see a very quick glimpse of the Erebus Motorsport, the purple Porsche Eater, they're calling it, coming out of turn 1 and looming up behind to put Peter Edwards a lap down.
Meanwhile, just coming into the pits has been the number 15 BMW that we've been talking about. I don't mean number 15 BMW, no, the 16 BMW, sorry, the Christian Poulsen driven car. That was having its first pit stop. That's an hour and 50 minutes very nearly into the race. So that BMW, maybe a bit of a handful, maybe not performing as well, but they're getting quite good fuel economy out of it. As I say, they've just made its first pit stop.
There's a lot of smoke from the front of the 16 BMW, the Z4 in there. As I think that was just a bit of brake smoke. There was some consternation for a moment. As in comes the number 9 Audi, the Network Clothing Hallmark car.
Poulsen jumping out of the Liquimoli BMW, and a driver change underway. There's a good look inside the number 16 car. It's an unbelievable looking thing, this. It is just one of the wildest examples of what a GT3 car can possibly be.
One of our great friends at RadioLeMans.com did a livery for the Saudi Falcons in the Dubai 24. And I have to say, I'm not the biggest fan of that shape of BMW, and Jim Roller and I were talking about it during the race. There is the O'Donnell Dippy and O'Donnell Porsche. Classic set of colours, that, isn't it? So that's the Scale Extrix, that's the slot car.
Sensational, I'm sure it's an intentional homage to what we've seen in the past. All crew over the red line except the car controller for when they release it pit lane. I wanted to give a shout out. We saw a brief shot of it just before of the Rod Salmon, Warren Luff, Craig Lowndes Audi, arguably the fans' favourite from Australian point of view, thanks to one C. Lowndes doing the driving. But Rod Salmon has done a very good job keeping that car just consistent and with track position so far. He's up to 8th place, just did a 15.7, best lap of a 13.2, but he's done a double stint to start this race.
The BMW that has just gone back out of the pits, there's been contact, and the Z4, the Liquimoli sponsored machine, the Team Engsler car has gone and dropped it somewhere. I have a feeling it was pushed rather than jumped there, because I just saw a quick flash of another car moving slowly.
Replay, top of Mount Panorama.
Oh, loses on his own.
Oh, wow. Clearwater Ferrari just in behind.
That's exactly what happened to Chris Porritt yesterday, and he caught it.
That's awkward. That's hard to watch.
If you look up the term tank slapper in the racing dictionary, that bit of video absolutely describes it. Got a little bit loose coming over the top at the park there on the right-hand side. The back wheels just starting to slide, and from then on, the pendulum effect, there was no coming back from there. And a
safety car. Let's run through the standings for you. Mercedes 1 and 2. Audi looking strong for Phoenix Racing. And then that Porsche just continuing to circulate with Shane van Gisbergen now behind the wheel. A couple of Ferraris looking strong. Mok Wen Sung behind the wheel of the Clearwater car. Your class leaders, the Class B Porsche, thanks to pedigree, going nicely. Nissan in front in Ridge's GT4. V8 Race Class D has the BMW leading. Race Fuels has the Holden Astra leading Class E. And Maguire's has a bunch of cars leading in the Invitational class. A break from the Liqui Bathurst 12-hour. More action on the other side of this. We're back at Bathurst. Let's go down to pit lane straight away with Shay Adam, who's going to find out more about that wild spin at the chase we've just seen.
Eric Lex, what a welcome to Australia. Your heart must be pounding right now.
Yeah, that was quite a ride down the hill there. We actually felt a little bit of a vibration there in the last lap, and I reported to the team, and we were trying to determine whether or not it was a pickup or a leak happening. To play it safe, we were going to come in that lap, but we didn't get to make it in that lap as the way we wanted to. If I had to make a guess, I think some of the safety car speeds here are very slow with incidents that have happened earlier. I believe maybe the tire pressure went below where we want to see, and that might have caused the tire to fall into an unsafe area. But all in all, the car is excellent. Audi gave us a great car for this race. The team is outstanding. It's a long race. We're going to make it back up. We're going to be there at the end.
Good plan.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ben Porter, not the result you were looking for, but can you talk us through what happened and when you first noticed there was an issue?
Yeah, look, it's a little bit frustrating for us. Basically, behind the safety car, we're starting to get low battery voltage, and I just figured it was low RPM was causing it, but as soon as it went green, I got to the top of Mountain Straight. The water temp had spiked, oil temp had spiked, and knew it was a little more serious.
And here is Warren Luff. You can't see him behind the second of the Erebus Mercedes-Benz as they go up Mountain Straight, because he is so tucked under that big rear wing, and as they come under the Pettis Bridge, and a bit of debris in the piece of debris, and right in the middle of the road, the Mercedes-Benz went to driver's right of it, or did he no, it definitely was. It's been absolutely mangled out there. A piece of carbon fibre just over the top of the brow, and Luff did not get through Mercedes-Benz with Thomas Yig, and there's a yellow flag there. There's a yellow flag on the exit of Hell's Corner. So is there somebody in there just leading up to the rise? And that is what is causing the issue. It wasn't a debut flag, I don't think. I'll need to have a little better look at that, as Luff is still chasing all the way through the top of the mountain.
I appreciate that they want to keep a very strong car a lap down, but I'm not too sure if Jaeger needs to defend that hard to keep a lapped car from unlapping itself.
Well, he's got an issue now, because he's right up the tailplates of his teammates, so what does he do now?
Well, I know, he's got no option, does he? So these three cars absolutely locked together, and the official margin 0.5, but you can see the gap. Watch for Luff to fire one down the inside, but Jaeger blocks. So he's defending from a car that's a lap behind and attacking his teammate in front who's leading the race. This is a lose-lose situation for Thomas Jaeger.
It absolutely is, because Matt Griffin and everybody else is coming great guns, full steam ahead. It's really going to be closing up at the front with the lap cars.
And just in the back of that shot, Alan Simonson in the Ferrari. He's in the same situation as Warren Luff, wants that lap back. This is how he can do it. And these two Erebus cars kind of shooting themselves in the foot at the moment, because two of their key contenders could well get their laps back and rejoin the race. And of course, when they get another safety car, their Christmases will come and they'll rejoin the back of the queue.
But here's an interesting fact, though, Rich, that the second of the cars, the Thomas Jaeger car, is defending, and he gets a little helping hand there and cuts across it the middle of the road. Now, he can't go any further across there. That would be a bit naughty, and that means that Luffy's got to go to the outside of Hell's Corner. There's all kinds of traffic there, and he's going to have to really pick his way through this. Neither of them on the really perfect racing line as they enter onto the Mountain Straight. The yellow flag there has been withdrawn, so it's fine for them to do that, overtaking, and they head again up towards the brow of the hill before they attack Griffin Bend, that first right-hander up the mountain. This, do you know, I get a very bad feeling about this, and just look at how much the 88 car has closed in as well. Alan Simonson is right there. And this is great news for Matt Griffin on the other side of the circuit. He's turning 2:07.2s. Hackett last time, Hackett did an 11 last time, whereas Matt's doing the 8s and the 9s, so he's pulling time out of them all of the time.
Absolutely flying, and on a very, very good lap this time as well. The problem that Warren Luff has got, the Mercs have got so much torque. It pulls them up the hill so well. The Audi is the faster car overall in this battle at this stage of the race, but look at the traffic coming onto McPhillamy and Skyline. Have a look at this. The two Mercedes just trying to work their way through, and this is just fingertip stuff. And Alan Simonson has cruised up to the back of this battle in the Ferrari. Jaeger has caught up in all this. Hackett bottled in behind a Seat and a Porsche from the same team. There's Jaeger, Luff. Simonson's going to swap positions with Warren Luff because he's going to look down the inside. Jaeger for the lead. Can't do it.
Simonson's got the best seat in the house here. He's looking forward from the Il Belloreso Ferrari.
It's great to watch, but it's absolutely bonkers to do this with 9.5 hours to go in the race, isn't it?
Oh, yes,
I love it.
But we love it. Either side of one of the Cup class Porsches, and now they've got to make a decision as Luff and Simonson come down the inside, driver's right, in towards the right-handed corner at the start of the chase. They've dropped back 2 or 3 cars. There's no doubt in my mind, though, Rich, that those 2 Ferraris have got better cars underneath them, better platforms underneath them, certainly than Peter Hackett and possibly Thomas Jaeger as well.
Right, if I was Warren Luff, and I don't know what these guys are really thinking, I'd let Alan Simonson go. I'd let him go past and let him be the one to move these Mercedes out the way, because we know that Ferrari, despite the 50 kgs it's carrying, is still a mighty fast race car. And Alan Simonson, the fastest of all around here this weekend, indeed, of all time. With more from pit lane, it's a very good morning to Summer Bogue.
Good morning, Bernhard. You joined me now. Speed has been key for you. You must be happy with Harold's performance.
Yes, we are. It was a very good stint. A lot more safety car than expected, and but we could manage to stay out of any trouble, just maintained a very good speed, and ended up P3 at the end. That is really good. That's where we are at the moment, and now Andreas is on the car, and we keep on going, trying to close up to the Mercedes. Luckily, they are fighting with another Audi. This helps us, and at the moment, just maintaining the speed. That's the main goal.
Let's get back to the front of the field where the two Erebus Mercedes-Benz with Hackett and Jaeger at the wheel, and they are now... and there is the pass for the lead, and that is team orders, undoubtedly, or at least pressure beginning to tell on Peter Hackett, and he takes, I think, what is a sensible option and almost gets nerfed off the track by Luffy as he drifts out to driver's right, just as they came out of the elbow and through that little left-hand kink as you start Conrod Straight, and there was a big middle pedal moment, and look how quick the Mercedes-Benz is. Hackett's having to brake before that kink to allow the two Mercedes-Benz to be split by the 2 Ferrari 458s.
Yeah, give way or crash. That was the option. That was it. He had to get out of the way there because Alan Simonson was going through whether he liked it or not. So new race leader Thomas Jaeger will lead the Liquimoli Bathurst 12-hour in car 36. Hackett back to second. The 2 cars in between them unlapping themselves. 1 Mercedes down, the other to go. Now we get an opportunity to see how fast Thomas Jaeger can go in clear air and on his own, and can Warren Luff and Alan Simonson go with him.
Just an update for you from Erebus Racing. It wasn't so much team tactics that saw the 2 Mercedes drivers swap places, but more so Peter Hackett tactics. He doesn't want to get involved in any incidents out there. Had a quick chat with his teammate Lee Holdsworth, who told me they've got a little ace up their sleeve. They've been running double stints and will run double stints all days on the same set of tyres. Come the end of the day, guys, they're going to whack a brand spanking new set of rubber on that car and go for a victory.
It looks as though Jaeger has now got big trouble, because he has indeed got the Warren Luff Audi in his slipstream, goes to the right, goes to the left. It's side by side now as they go over the brow. Really in the wrong position is Luffy as they go up towards Griffin's Bend, and he's had to let through Alan Simonson in the camouflage Iveco Il Bello Rosso Ferrari, and he goes through and takes that position, which is effectively 7th position, and now he's up the tailpipes of our leader, and Jaeger has a very different proposition behind. Warren Luff has been there and harrying, but has been patient. Alan Simonson, I'm not quite sure will show the same amount of patience and trying to get his lap back. Remember, that car is 50 kilograms heavier because he burst out of the 206 bracket in the practice and the qualifying sessions, I'm afraid.
Well, and dramas for the Donut King Nissan GTR. It's missing a wheel. A wheel has come off that car.
More than a puncture at the back of that Nissan, isn't there? There's a bit more than just the rubber missing on that car.
The whole of the right rear wheel is not attached to
there
the...
it is.
In fact, hang on, we found it.
So that's not ideal. The wheel very much off this wagon. Donut King car just limping back to pit lane. It had been a faultless run so far, and they're in a very good position.
Yeah, Adam Beachy just making his way into the pits, and they're going to send him straight into the garage. Had a quick chat with Tony Alford, and he's not aware of what's transpired. I just caught a glimpse, as you probably did, on your cameras of that rear disc. Looks like it's sheared the complete nut, all the nuts off it. All 5 nuts are missing. I'm going to try and see if I can get this door open and grab Adam Beachy and have a quick word with him and see if he can tell us exactly what happened out there. It doesn't look like it's been hit by anything. Adam, can you tell us what happened out there?
Something's happened to the right. Something's happened to the right rear of the car, the Donut King Nissan. So I'm not sure whether a wheel's come off due to a wheel bearing or wheel nuts. I'm not sure what's happened, but it wasn't real friendly out there.
It just happened all of a sudden?
Yeah, within a lap. Yep.
A real shame for the former class-leading Nissan. Here's the Michelin race update and how they run so far. Mercedes, Audi, Mercedes, the top 3, and German Marks, first 3, 4th with Porsche in there. Shane Van Gisbergen and Clark Quinn going nicely. The first of the Ferraris is the Clearwater car running in 5th place. This is your class standings. Interesting to note, the little Holden Astra going very well in Race Fuels Class E. But John, there's some pretty serious pit lane activity happening.
Thomas Jaeger has been called in. This is tremendous tactics as the safety car board is out. The safety car I haven't seen moving. It's sitting with its flashing lights going, and Jaeger is already out of the car as the fuel is going in. And that should be then Bernd Schneider, I reckon, getting into that car, is it?
Yep, it would be with he's the only one to not have driven that car so far today. So race leaders.
How close to that was their stop, Paul?
To their scheduled stop. Yeah. It was within 3 or 4 laps, so it was good timing for them. But it does mean that Andreas Simonsen in the number 1 Audi has gone through. He didn't come into the pits. The number 1 car stayed out, so we now have the number 1 Audi leading the race, and it will come through at the end of the lap. I assume, and will therefore take over the lead. It'll be the 5th change of lead and the 5th car in the lead as well, whilst nearly everybody else comes into the pits as well, taking advantage of this 4th safety car period.
Sharon Hire BMW, class leader, into the pit lane. Also coming in, Brendan Hartley from the 9th position in the United Autosports car. Christian Zugel in the 81. It's the Zayas Group Rembrandt Charms Audi he had with that very scary looking puncture for Eric Lux earlier on. They've dropped down to 18th position. He's in the pit lane as well, has the number 71, the Equity One Mergers Fund, the sort of just off-white and dark maroon Audi R8 LMS Ultra. That comes in out of 15th position. And here is the leader, Andreas Simonsen, and again a lap after everybody else in the pit lane. Pedigree Pet Foods car, Shane Van Gisbergen in 2nd place, a lap after everybody else. Just missed the call to get into the pit lane. I'm not sure how much this is going to cost them, but again we're going to have the wave by. I think the safety car was waiting for those guys to come back around, and now they've dived into the pits. They're going to have to let everybody else go through and pick up Thomas Jaeger again. Matt Griffin has stayed out in the 33 car, and he's going to make up a heap good of call. Yeah, well, really good call. Yes, but he's now owes us a pit stop. That's the only thing. Let's get some update from the pits. Here's Grant Boyd.
Yeah, Barton Moore's Porsche was just down here in pit lane. Bart, can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, we just got the flat shifter not quite working, and we're just having a bit of trouble with doing some nice gear changes. So just while the safety car was out, we wanted to just check it and download it and see if we can make it better, but otherwise all going well.
How big a problem is this going to be? I mean, you say you can't do smooth gear changes. Are you able to effectively do gear changes at all?
Yeah, we can. We can work around it. We lift on the upshift now, but the problem is it'll be a bit hard on the gearbox. And obviously we want to make 12 hours, so just a precautionary just to make sure we can make the distance.
Thanks for your time, Bart.
Thanks, mate.
Green flag is back out. We're back under racing conditions with 8.5 hours remaining, 3.5 in to the Liquimoli Bathurst 12 hour. We'll try and sort all this out for you folks, and we will get an explanation, be it from someone at the end of a phone line or someone in pit lane or race control, but we will sort this out because I want to know as much as the next person what exactly they're thinking in the way they sort this out. So Alan Simonson, Bernd Schneider, 3.8 seconds as they crossed the line at racing speed. So the timing hadn't quite updated when they're at that second intermediate. Then Lee Holdsworth, 7 seconds, I should say, behind. And then we count for Ciocci to come through in 4th place. But there's more news from pit lane. Let's go there now.
Craig Lowndes now joins me, and the really good news is you've made up that lap with Warren Luff behind the wheel.
Yeah, look, Luffy has done a tremendous job. It's obviously quite difficult for everyone to be obviously getting through the traffic and everything else, but he had a great battle there with the Mercedes and the Ferrari, and I believe we're back on the lead lap now. So it's game on, and he's had a service. He's back out there. He's on fresh tyres and some fuel, and we'll see what he does.
Drama out on the brace track there as the 88 of Alan Simonson is into the pit lane now. Looks like he may have a tyre problem or something, because he just came to almost a halt coming out of the Falcon Tyres elbow, gave up track position, although not overall position, as Mark Patterson no, in fact, that was overall position. Mark Patterson's gone through and taken the 8th position, and that car must surely have a tyre issue. They've got a new set of Michelins ready for it, Krilsey.
Yeah, so massive dramas. It was very, very slow across the top, and Simonson backed out. Last year, this car had a fueling issue. It was a fuel pressure problem that slowed them right down and ultimately dropped them right out of contention. So Simonson in pit lane. The other Simonson leads the race in the Audi, and 1 second in front of Bernd Schneider in the 36.
Oh, this is the class leader. This is the Sherrans Hire BMW, and that, I'm afraid, is an engine not as it came out of Munich. It is beginning to leave some of its internal fluids, if not some of its internal workings, all the way up the racing line of the mountain straight, and that is not great news for everyone following the Sherrans car out of Hell Corner and up towards Griffin Bend.
Please get off the racetrack.
Stop the car. Stop that car. Do not drive over the top of the mountain with that. Well, that is very white. It could be water, but I'm guessing that those of you who are around that area are smelling burning oil at the moment.
That has blown up, sir. That car is in a world of pain. Race control need to be on that and tell them where things are at. Here's some Audis dicing United Autosports. The Squirk.com car with Warren Luff doing a great job. Not quite for position, is it? Well, Luff and Van Gisbergen is for position. So the red Audi, the orange Audi and the Porsche behind. But the United Autosports car with Mark Patterson behind the wheel is a lap back from these two, dicing back in 9th place. As they go through the heat haze and the smog up there at turn 2, left from that BMW, and well done to the United car for just ducking out of the way of a battle for track position. Yeah. My personal opinion is that that's pretty irresponsible stuff, and once you'd have a fairly reasonable idea that the engine was blown fairly quickly, and the team at the very least could have got on the radio and told them to get that car off. And aside from the fact that it could be the difference between killing an engine or not if you shut it down straight away.
Oh, yeah.
And you can bring the car back on a flatbed, restart, as we've heard from Chris Porritt today. But what successfully happened there is that car has left 5 odd litres of BMW's finest around, or Liqui Moly. That's not a good ad for Liqui Moly, isn't it? We don't want to deposit the sponsor's product on the racetrack.
That's where it does its best work.
Exactly right. So it's been left around Mount Panorama, and as a result, the circuit is going to be very challenging for a while, and a lot of teams just sticking their head out of the pit bunker under our commentary box and just sort of running their fingers through it to see exactly what it was, and they'll get on the radio and tell their teams.
There's a car stationed on the circuit, John.
And that, sadly, is the Daytona Coupe, or Daytona Coupe if you use the Americans, and that is just after the first right-handed part of the chicane coming down the chase.
Into the garage.
Goodness.
For Maranello Motorsport, they are pushing car 88 into the garage.
The right front suspension is wrong on that car. It's not right, it's wrong. There's been a failure on the hub, or at least on the upright.
Remember the contact, John.
With the wall in that first full course caution period when he was trying. It was Mika Salo at the wheel. We've seen it in the Michelin hourly updates, brushing the wall on the right-hand side as he went up the cutting. Both of those right-hand side tyres were white-walled and had scuff marks.
So this is the replay we're
left-hand side
about.
of the screen.
So squeezed out when this contact with the Porsche, Mika Salo was driving, and the right front of the Maranello Ferrari made contact with the hefty concrete wall. That set off the chain of events, but it's obviously taken since then for that contact to actually break something. We have a safety car on the racetrack again, and the driver of the Ferrari, the Clearwater car, very unhappy with some of the lap traffic not going quick enough behind the safety car and That's costing them track position. Let's take this opportunity to have a look at our Michelin race update. Bernd Schneider leading the way in the Mercedes-Benz. Harold Primar and Andreas Simonsen second for Audi. And the second Erebus Motorsport Merc running in third. Here are your class leaders at the end of the hour. Ivo Bruckers behind the wheel of the Holden Astra, still leading Class E. The Lotus still doing a great job in Maguire's Invitational 1. It's been a dramatic and unpredictable Liqui Bathurst 12 hours so far.
And we are green flag racing with 4 hours and 23 minutes exactly completed. Into the pit lane from 16th position comes Christian Zugel as we go green. And we're waiting for the leader to go through, and Lee Holdsworth has gone through in the 63 Erebus Mercedes-Benz. He's got Roloff behind him, Alexander Roloff, his teammate, if you like, by just 0.6 of a second at the line. They're carving their way through the traffic as they go up the mountain straight for the first time. The rest of the field pouring through Hell Corner, and it's Christopherson in third for the number 1 Audi, and then Rob Salmon, isn't it, who's in the 6 car? Yes, it is, in 4th position. Craig Baird has climbed aboard the 33, the Ferrari in 5th position that has just been given up by Matt Griffin. So they did change drivers then, at least, Rich, for that, if not very much else. So they haven't yet, presumably, answered their black flag.
Yeah, and you cannot serve a drive-through penalty under safety car conditions.
But I don't think they did, because Bairdos got in the car, so Griffin got out.
But yes, but they stopped twice under that safety car. They went through pit lane once and then came through and completed their stop. So
slap me around the back of the head, sorry.
I expect Craig Baird, he's going to have to come back in again. We'll keep an eye on that and see how that plays out, but that could be a massive blow for Clearwater. They're only 11 seconds off the lead as they came to the stripe, but it is
back. That's been
it's been one of the great stories of the day so far as we approach the 4.5 hour mark of the race. We're just enjoying some Donut King product in the commentary box in the car, enjoying some, or not enjoying some more time in pit lane. Looks like Tony Alford sitting in the car.
Coming down into the final left-hander. Maguire's corner as it is this weekend, and looks like Craig Baird's got position on the inside, and a little bit of racing room needing to be given by Christopherson. Is he going to do it? Yes, he is, and at Hell Corner the position is going to change. A new third place. Ooh, Christopherson doesn't really make it easy at all for Baird as he goes down the inside, squeezed down in him through the left-hander at Hell, but going up the mountain straight, we've got a new third place car.
Yeah, Craig Baird charging his way through. In October last year in his turf in Porsche Carrera Cup, he took on one of the best one-make Porsche races in the world, Jeroen Bleekemolen, who came out to drive the guest car at that Carrera Cup round, beat him on all 3 occasions. And Bleekemolen said, man, this guy is good. And it was a really, really tough challenge. Jeroen, of course, having finished second in the 12 months ago. So Baird gets past the very impressive Phoenix Audi, and I shouldn't sound surprised because that team I expect to be impressive, but the 3 drivers they have just done a hugely professional job all weekend. But Baird pulling away from them, he is setting a good pace and moves to 3rd place.
This is the class-leading
E-Class
car. Exactly so. And Ivo Breukers at the wheel of the number 3 Holden Astra at the moment.
That car had a problem with the right front earlier on in the week, remember? Ivo clouted the wall coming out of the fault in tyres elbow.
That was in the free practice session, wasn't it, John? And he's now limping back. He'll make it back without too much difficulty.
They, of course, complete a stop with their Ferrari, and there's plenty going on in Erebus Motorsport too. They have the German car, especially the 36, primarily running on the hard Michelin tyre. So they've been just running the harder compound tyre in this middle stint during the heat of the day, and that possibly explains that slight performance drop-off, Paul, that you were talking about a little bit before. So they've been running the harder of the 2 Michelins, but Pete Hackett will jump back in behind car 63. Lee Holdsworth out of the way. So let's take a look at the Michelin race update with how things stand. The Clearwater Ferrari back in front, Mercedes second and third for Erebus Motorsport. The Audi's still looking strong, but they really need to maintain their position on the lead lap. And the Porsche, there or thereabouts in 6. Here are our class battles, thanks to Darrell Lee, Pedigree Ridges, V8 Race, Race Fuels and Maguire's But plenty going on in the Maguire's Invitational class this weekend as well.
Here's our class invitation 1 leader. This is the number 60 Lotus Elise. Great to see these little Lotuses out as well. They're a really smashing little car, super balance to them. Takes a little bit of getting used to because it's such a light car, and the engine, although it's in the middle of the car, is obviously the most part of the weight. A bit like driving a Porsche really, except it's not hung right out over the back wheels. I love them to bits. Done a bit of driving in them in the UK, and with slick tyres on, this is a real weapon. And through the twisties, as you see now, it's a narrow car, it's easy to place, good visibility going forward at least, and I would think that's a great weapon up here.
How is the diffuser on it? That is fantastic. Get a load of it. It looks great out there, and obviously it really does help the aerodynamics of the car. Oh, yellow flags at the top at McPhillamy. What's going on here? Is there a car in the gravel trap?
That would normally be what we would have.
Oh, there it is.
Big incident off to driver's right just before the entrance to Skyline, and down through the S's. The marks in the gravel trap tell their own story.
Over to the left-hand side.
Is that
right on the track?
I think that's the VIP Petfield. No, it's not. It's the 88. It's the 88 again, the Ferrari. That was John Bow, and indeed it's still John Bow, and he's bounced off the wall.
Has he got a flat tyre? The door's open. So,
I think he's bounced off the wall there.
Safety car.
120 mile an hour. The right rear is gone on that car. There's no tyre on it, and it's deranged. The driver's door is open. I would think John has vacated as quickly as he could if he's been able to get out that car. Safety car has been called for. Now there is the slow-moving Seat that Mark was talking about. This is the 56 car.
Front left on that looks like it's got a problem. Is it a flat tyre? The car is covered in dust, so he's been involved with it. So look at the marks there on the right front.
On the right front. It's either a flat or he's got an upright problem, I think, there, Mark. I'm not sure which one it is.
And Craig Baird then opens up a useful little margin as he comes down to that final corner.
Manna from heaven for Bairdo, because he's got a whole gaggle of touring class cars as he screams by us, or at least the Ferrari does. And one of the lower placed Audi's just gone through. I think that was the 12 car that went through in front of us. And now that battle for third and fourth. Where is Christopherson? I'm looking across to the right to see him. Here he comes, the white, yellow and black machine coming up the inside, and he's got Holdsworth right there, you know, as they go in the 23. Brendan Hartley with the United Autosports colours around him in the Audi. He's picking his way back through traffic. He is just off the lead lap by, 4 laps now, as there's a slow BMW on the mountain straight. Drivers right, and everyone's going to have to keep their wits about them there as the pack comes through. My goodness, and that's where racing drivers earn their money, Mark.
Oh, hold your breath there as the GWS 335i BMW there had more dramas. They've had a fraught week here at the mountain for the local team, but everyone seems to be sorting themselves out as they head up to the cutting on this first racing lap. There's Christopherson up the inside of the Aston. Great to see the Aston back out there. Yeah. Bit of a bottleneck as they try and sort themselves out through the cutting.
It's such a dangerous time on the restart. Yellows breed yellows, cautions breed cautions. Whichever way you look at it, it is true, because you're bunching everybody up. You've lost a bit of tyre temper, a bit of pressure. Some people perhaps have an issue that they weren't aware of until they've slowed down. And then you get all this that we're seeing now with Brendan Hartley having to do some masterful overtaking. And here comes the Christopherson car, and Hartley's there now. He's got a faster car behind him. Hartley's trying to make his way back up and maybe get a lap back, but what he's got now is the third place Christopherson car, the Phoenix Racing Machine, right up his tailpipes. So the white, red and blue United Autosports car goes down through the dipper with the white, yellow and black Audi similar car behind him. With the big number 1A in the top right hand side of the window. He's got his fog lights on in the grille there just to make sure that Brendan knows there's someone behind him. Trust me, Brendan knows he's there. They've got his spinners at the elbow, and I think that was the Rugolo car that was involved in that. It's Wyatt that's in the 58 at the moment. It certainly looked like the red 458 that was coming out of the Falcon Tyres elbow.
There was a white car involved. I'm not sure what it was. Hopefully we'll be able to pick that up.
I think it was one of the Cup class Porsches, Mark, just from the quick shot that we got in the background. Yes, it was. The 67 car has gone around and now does an 18-point turn. The good news is, of course, now this is where having just had the restart kind of helps him, because the majority of the field has gone through. The Motorsport Services GT3 Cup car as Hartley and the number 1 car of Christopherson. Now Hartley is playing hardball here. He's 4 laps down. He'll be getting the blue flags. I kind of understand why he doesn't want to move over, but Christopherson's going to be getting a little impatient with this.
Well, while there's a great battle on the track, let's go back and take a look at the halfway recap. Thanks to Michelin. This is Eric Lutz spinning across the chase. Huge moment in the Audi R8 LMS with that rear tyre deflated. Clearwater Ferrari in the thick of the action all day. A big impact for Charles Ing in the BMW at the top of Mount Panorama. The Liquid Moly car hard into the wall. And the Mosler struck dramas too. A serpentine belt on the front of the Corvette engine, the mighty V8 that powers the British-built sports car, spun itself off, and they were later to strike more dramas, much in the same way that Warren Luff struck some debris in this battle, trying to unlap himself as the Donut King car shielded its rear studs off the back as it went to pit lane. And that was 3 wheels on its wagon. The rear bar off the GB galvanising Lamborghini came off halfway down Conrod Straight. And then the Sharon BMW spun itself into the gravel at Maguire's corner, but that was the least of it for the Class D leading car. A blown engine for the Sharon Rentals Bimmer put them out of the race early on into the Liquid Moly 12 hour. The Clearwater Ferrari again in the thick of the action, and Matt Griffin made up more than a minute and a half under green flag running some 3 wide racing, passing an Audi and a slower lapped car from GWS and the BMW. Carved his way up through the field in a real inspired drive by the Irishman. This was for 3rd place on the road, with Craig Baird working his way past the Phoenix Racing Audi, the defending champions here at Mount Panorama. And a nice move into Maguire's corner saw Craig Baird work his way through, and the Clearwater car well in contention at the halfway point of the Liquid Moly Bathurst 12 hour. So many stories unfolding, so much strategy, so much great racing throughout the course of the day. There's still a very long way to go. The Clearwater car then set out after the race leader to get itself back onto the lead lap and back in contention for a win that it had liked to achieve very much after finishing 3rd last year. Brave move round the outside at Skyline. That was bold stuff, but they got it done. Ivo Brukers was behind the wheel of the Holden Astra when it popped to right front. This is how they run 6 hours into the Liquid Moly 12 hour. Ferrari leading Mercedes and Audi, with Mercedes, Porsche and a whole heap more Audis filling out the back end of the top 10 on our Michelin leaderboard. A great Michelin and Pirelli tyre battle going on as well. These are the class leaders thanks to our respective sponsors: Darrell Lee, Pedigree, Riches, V8 Race, Race Fuels and Maguire's. So many stories to tell over the course of the Liquid Moly 12 hour. There's a lot more to come. Stick around, there's more when we come back from this short break. We are back at the Liquid Moly Bathurst 12 hour in 2013. Safety car pulling in. It was for the stranded number 67 BMW from Motorsport Services. We have a race restart. The Clearwater Ferrari leading them to the line as we move into the second half of this race. We're on board the 2-time race-winning BMW, driven by Peter O'Donnell, Andre Heimgartner and Anthony Gilbertson. This team have had a really tough weekend and had to get stewards dispensation to actually start this race after failing to make the qualifying cut, but they showed that they had plenty of pace early in the weekend, enough to qualify them, so they were allowed to start. And all of a sudden they're working their way up the order in Class D in this great production car battle. This is a mega fight, Mark Walker, going on between a group of Audi R8 LMS entries.
There's problems there for the Equity 1. Audi, though, very slow through Griffiths. We wonder if there is a drama there. He's dropped way off the pace.
3 Audis heading up the hill in absolute harmony. In fact, there's 4 in about 5 cars there at the moment, and Christopherson is the man most likely. He's looking the 3rd of those Audis there to be through. He's still got traffic ahead of him. That's the 3rd place car, and he's got close company with Lee Holdsworth not too far behind him there, and he can't afford to give too much ground. He'll have to try and make an overtake here on Brendan Hartley, who is in 9th position and some laps down. And oh dear, this is all getting a little bit unnecessary as they come across Skyline and down through the S's.
Oh, it's tight on these restarts. We've seen the yellows breeding yellow flags all day long. Hopefully we can get some nice green flag running here. So we'll see the Audi freight train head down the mountain towards Vulcan tyres, elbow. Oh, he has a look up the inside. Christopherson just holding back a little bit there. He senses that these two are fairly willing as they head down Conrod Straight. Christopherson into the draft. Will he make the move?
It's a brave man that goes to driver's right here. Remember, we heard Matt Griffin saying there is a big bump there as you head into the right-hander. It should be flat. It's not necessarily flat when you're on the wrong side of the circuit. It's side by side, but Christopherson goes through and he's followed through by the Mercedes. No, not quite. Oh, both of the cars just not riding that bump at all well on driver's right. Exactly what Matt Griffin was telling us earlier on. And Christopherson, for the moment at least, gets a little bit of respite from Lee Holdsworth behind him. He's got the flashes on again with the extra light in the front of the grille as he comes up again. This is a lapped car, and the frustration, you can almost feel it from here, Mark, can't you, as they go past in front of us down the Liquid Molly straight and towards Hell Corner for the 138th time.
Oh, the Mercedes has a look up the inside, gets the nose chopped off, no move there, and that'll cost him a bit of pace up Mountain Straight. Really trying to work his way through as Lee Holdsworth, very experienced around Mountain Panorama, fades it over to the inside. He'll make the move stick into Griffith's Bend this time.
Not sure what was going on there, Mark, with that Equity 1 Audi. You called it as going slowly. It's carried on round, so maybe he was just being a bit cautious or on the colder tyres.
He went to driver's left at Griffin Bend to let those guys through. I'm not sure he actually realised how many of them there were, as through goes Holdsworth to get back onto the tail for the moment, at least going up the cutting. He's got about 4 or 5 cars lengths, maybe a tad more actually, to make up on the Christopherson Audi, who made the best move there, best of the moves through the traffic.
Yeah, I think we'll see Christopherson being able to open up the gap between himself and Holdsworth. Before that safety car appeared, we did have the Audi stretching the gap between himself and the Mercedes there. So we've got that gap there expanding, I think. We'll see how it goes over the next couple of laps. We can go down into the pits, and Summer, I think, is with Harold Prima.
We are live again, and yes, Harold Prima joins me. You just said it's turning very aggressive out there.
It is very aggressive. I mean, obviously, there is a lot of safety cars. There are a lot of incidents coming up. So every time safety car comes out, or the car gets really close together, and the cars that are on the same lap, obviously, they get to battle really hard, you know. So it's only 6 hours, and it's really a really tough fight out there.
But Phoenix Racing are navigating it well. You feel fairly confident moving forward?
The team is great. I mean, we're doing well on the strategy. We keep out of trouble. So as far as it goes, at the moment, we're looking good. Even though the competition is really hard, you know, obviously you've got a lot of locals that know the circuit really well. So, you know, it needs a perfect race for us to get it, to be able to really, you know, have a win or even a podium is hard out there. But I think the team is doing a really good job. So I think we have a good chance.
In the pits, the C-Class car. It's running at the back of the C-Class field at the moment. The St. Gallen, the Aston Martin, Chris Porritt was involved in that nasty incident earlier on. They've replaced the left front upright and a number of other bits and pieces. Thank goodness they got those parts sent through from Banbury earlier on in the week, that they had a bit of an issue getting through, but they have done. There is the D-Class leader still in the pits, but looks like it's about to leave. Note the damage on the right-hand side doors. That's not as in left the factory. Aerodynamic improvement, I'm not sure about that one, but it's, I would say it was an Armco shaped bump in the side, but there's not much Armco to go side to side on here, so somebody's had a little bit of a bang up the right-hand side of that Subaru. It now does, in fact, leave the pits and head up Mountain Straight. The gap at the head of the field now, Paul, is what, 31? Excuse me,
4 seconds.
4 seconds.
Yeah, nearly 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It's one of those gaps that I get the feeling that they're both just kind of keeping an eye on each other. It's not quite slow bicycle race, but they're just keeping an eye on each other, driving as fast as they can, but they're wanting just to get through to the next pit stop, see what happens on the pit stops. Remember that we had the situation, didn't we, with the driver change for the Mercedes, but not for the Ferrari. So the Ferrari will be looking forward to getting a new set of tyres on it, and then it'll be interesting to see what the team decides to do, whether they put Matt Griffin back in it or whether Mok Weng Sung gets to drive the Ferrari again. So we'll see what decision the team makes as to how they're going to do that on the strategy.
This is a significant development as the leader of the motor race is in the pits. The Liquid Moly 12 Hours of Bathurst for 2013 has Craig Baird at position number 1. He has crossed the line, so he's still scored as the leader. Of course, Thomas Yeager's already gone through, and he will come around next time round to be scored as the new leader. Now, that looks to me as though Bairdo's getting out. He is. They're going to the fuel straight away. Is there a new set of Michelin tyres for that car?
You'd have to assume, yes. They're at the ready there on the left-hand side. Here's a replay coming into the pits.
Oh, he wasn't hanging about, was Bairdo, was he?
Cutting it fine.
Pit lane speed limit doesn't actually start until they get right round the corner, and the cone just before the Liquid Moly Maguire's Bridge. So getting in and out Schumacher-like there, you could save a lot of time by not just dawdling into the lane.
It's been pretty darn warm down here. That posed me the question. I should dash over to Trevor Schumacher from Michelin Tyres. The start of this race was a lot cooler this morning. What was the track temperature when the cars first went out onto the circuit?
Just on 20 degrees this morning, yeah.
And now, ambient temperature-wise, we're well up into the 30s. What's the track putting up at?
Just around about 50, so there's a big change from this morning.
Well, that's a massive thing for the teams to compensate with and think about, because at the start of the race, obviously they're going to put a certain pressure in the tyres themselves. As the race has gone on and as the day's warmed up, how have they had to adjust the standing cold temperature in those tyres before they go on a car to make sure that they're going to get the optimum out of their tyre?
Well, during Friday and Saturday, we had the same track temperatures, you know, and so they got the information back then. Yeah. And it's really more about managing the tyre pressure to ensure it's in the zone where we want to be.
Well, how are they doing that with such big fluctuations? And of course, as the day goes on, it's going to get cooler as well.
Yeah, but it's as they prepare a set of tyres, it's the start pressure they start with that will end up at the recommended pressure that we're trying to run.
Now, I know you're passionate about not only racing, you're a pretty good race car driver yourself, but tyres. Is it a guess, or are you pretty good? Have you got it down to a science?
No, it's pretty close nowadays. You know, a lot of these European teams have been very familiar with our product overseas. And when they're dealing with track temperatures in Europe, you can have 50 degrees on the track. So we know exactly where we are.
Up and down pit lane, a number of teams have been talking about doing double stints with the Michelins on. What's the key to such great wear and such good durability out of these tyres?
Oh, look, I think the cars are tuned. You know, they've been running in the GT championships and US Blancpain championship and what have you. So when the car is right, it looks after its tyres. It's, we can double stint. We know that.
With problems for, but I think that is the 26. That is the Venter car, so that is actually second place in Class E, battling with Dave Ward in 27th and 28th positions, and he was just 12 seconds behind the leader at the start of the lap. That's dropped away a little bit because there's something quite fundamental missing from the left rear of that car. He's off to driver's left down the Conrod Straight, trying to get the errant left corner on the grass. Now he's lost, in fact he's got problems both front and rear on that for my money. It looks like he's been into the wall somewhere. Well, let's stop speculating and we'll have a wheel. Oh dear, the wheel's gone completely. That is not as it was when it left Stuttgart. That has been somewhat modified and it might save a little bit of weight, but traction is suffering there, I would say.
I'd agree with that, and there's traction issues for the Donut King GTR. Now we're getting report safety car. This is why the Class D leading car has found contact with the wall very hard at the top of Mount Panorama. That's the Dean Heritage Subaru. That is a big crash. John O'Dowd and Angus Kennard sharing the duties. Heritage in pit lane, so it's one of the two co-drivers, and that has brought out the safety car. Now, this is the drama for the GWS BMW. What a strange thing to happen.
How very bizarre. I'm not sure I've seen anything like that. His 24 teammate has just pulled it in front of us. The tyre is rolling down. No, that is the wheel. The wheel has gone in its entirety, and that was not contact with the wall. That was the wheel making its bid for freedom. Sadly, not getting a better lap time, but even so.
Race restart, green flag. We'll find out what's going on with the number one Audi. It's been in pit lane for a long time. We'll send one of our team down there to find out what's going on at Phoenix Racing, the team that won this race last year. We are back underway at Mount Panorama, and it is very busy. The Durrell safety car pulls in. to pit lane, and this field sorts themselves out. So, to reiterate, Bernd Schneider leads the race by 4 seconds over Tim Slade, with Mok Wen Sung in the Clearwater Ferrari 14 seconds down the road. They're the 3 cars on the lead lap.
And Mok Wen Sung has done a little over 2.25 hours.
Well, he's now done
in the car.
Yes, he's now done 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
His minimum time is 3 hours, so he's going to have to stay out for another 40 minutes, which is going to be the rest of this tank full of fuel, I reckon. Or he has to do a 3rd stint later on in the race. He's already done 1 stint. So we'll have to see what the progress is on that car. Back to green flag racing, and we do now have the situation, which is one that we've had before, but not for a long time, of the Mercedes 1-2, with Schneider in the lead of the race with Tim Slade behind him, but only a 3rd car, the Ferrari, the Clearwater Racing Ferrari, is the only other car on the lead lap. We go back 1 lap to the VIP Pet Foods Porsche, which now has Clark Quinn behind the wheel of it, and that is a lap behind. 3 laps behind that is then the number 9 Audi that was assaulted by the Ferrari earlier on. I think the next thing we need is another nice green portion of the race, and I just need to kind of feel confident somehow that Mok Wen Sung can calm down enough, because you were saying earlier on, you know, he's there or thereabouts in terms of his lap times, but I think he's just had a little bit of either the heat's getting to him or he's feeling the pressure, because as I was saying just before the break, there's somebody off there at a very
That's not just somebody.
Square Audi, that's Craig Lowndes.
Almost the same place he went off. It's a little bit further back up the mountain, isn't it? Back towards the dipper.
It's just by the dipper, that.
Yeah. And he's facing the wrong direction. And I don't think he's... Do you know what? I think he might have got away with that. Rich, he might not have hit anything there. That might just be a lazy spin coming over the top. Maybe he had to check up with somebody here in front of him right at the apex of the...
safety car.
Do you think?
So another safety car, So they've gone yellow, because it's almost impossible to do a U-turn there. Not just because of the narrowness of the track or the steepness, but just how blind it is. To do one safely there is almost impossible. So dramas for Craig Lowndes at the top of the mountain. Not so for Peter Conroy Motorsport. Summer is with James Winslow.
James, yes, he joins me now. Just out the car 10 minutes ago. You're pretty exhausted. You got hand cramps. Tell us about the body.
Oh, I'm pretty exhausted. I think I did 2.5 hours out there, midway through the race, so the hottest part of the day. Cool suit stopped working, radio stopped working, absolutely dehydrated, but the good thing is we're inside the top 8, car's running like a dream, the handling of the car is fantastic, the Michelin tyre is doing a really good job. Only issue we have is that the engine's getting slightly warm and the car goes into a limp mode, so if we get over 115 degrees on water temperature, we go into limp mode, and that costs us maybe 3 or 4 seconds a lap. Once it drops back down below the 115, limp mode stops, and then we're on our way again, trying to keep the engine cool.
Rob Huff's out there now, 10th position. You're looking good. How will he be feeling?
I think he'll be feeling pretty good for now, because the handling's good. Hopefully we can get that temperature under control. But Rob's a professional. He's a world champion. I'm sure he can cope with it. And the race is going to plan at the moment.
A car to watch in the second half of this race. Darrell Lee's safety car pulling in. Merckx leading the Porsche back to the restart, the Liquimoli 12 Hour. Now the car to watch here, I think, is the VIP Pet Foods Porsche, because they are trying, like we've seen so far today, to get themselves back onto the lead lap. I fear those two, well, for the VIP team, I fear that those 2 Mercedes in front are going to be too strong, but they're driving away up the road, 2 tenths between the 2 leaders, and then we wait for Mok Wen Sung to come through in the Clearwater Racing Ferrari and get a gap on where they are. So Jaeger, Slade, Mok Wen Sung, Clark Quinn behind the wheel of 5, Primat behind the wheel of number 1. So 169 laps to them. And so they've dropped 4 laps behind the leader, which is a real shame, because they had done an outstanding job all morning to keep themselves on the lead lap and well and truly in the fight. And then Alan Lee is behind the wheel of the 23 United Autosport car, just in behind Christopher Meese in the number 9 Audi R8 LMS. But United Autosports, for me, what a fantastic, quiet achievement they've done today to creep their way up the autoboard, given last year they didn't make it past the 4 or 5 hour mark of this race.
Paul Haig, who's running that team at the moment, as I said before, is a real stalwart of all forms of motor racing. he's loving this endurance racing that he's doing now with what is clearly a very sophisticated car, the Audi R8 LMS Ultra. Super quick, and we've perhaps not seen the best of it here, and I think maybe still a little bit of refinement required on this new version of the car that they've brought to the mountain this year.
But we do have an interesting battle in prospect for the remainder of the race, John, between the three Audis that are, yeah, they are 4 laps behind, but there's 3 of them all on the same lap, isn't there? Because there's the number 1, the recovering Phoenix car, the number 9 Network Clothing Hallmark car, the red and black one, and the United Autosports car, number 23. And they're kind of battling to be best Audi, as it were. They're in 5th, 6th and 7th places, but they're separated by nothing at all behind the safety car, or recovering from now the safety car having withdrawn. Meanwhile, at the front of the race, John, great battle going on between the 2 Mercedes.
Now, earlier, of course, we had that issue with these 2 guys because one car was holding up the other car and everyone was catching them up, and something had to be done about that. You get the feeling now that this is formation flying, Rich, and these guys, if there is a pass to be made, will do it in their own time and at their own pace, because look, they've got clear road all the way up the whole length of mountain straight up towards the first right-hander Griffin Bend as they go through that there. It's just great over the top of the camber, stay off the curb on driver's left, and now heading up the cutting. I love this part of the track.
It has been a day of high drama, and the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Today has been very much the story. The Seats have been in a world of pain. And this was up at Falcon Tyres elbow, the AF Corsa Ferrari, just in the background of the shot. This is the Clearwater number 33. So into pit lane they go, and they've visited there a couple of times. Another high speed off across the chase, and that's by a car that now must be considered one of the favourites for Class D, the performance production car class, because the Sharon BMW and the Subaru well and truly out of the race, as we have just seen. Debris falling off. With the BMWs coming out through the S's, the exit of the dipper. In fact, it's a fairly large piece of debris. It's called a wheel, a tyre, and it rolled all the way down about a kilometre of racetrack and went to find its friends just down there at Falcon Tyres elbow. Realised it probably wouldn't find a happy home there as a tyre bundle, and continued to roll happily down Conrod Straight. And if that doesn't give you an indication of how steep this place is, nothing will. Now, this was a key incident down at Maguire's turn, wing right down the inside and cannoned into the number 9 Audi, and lucky to escape from any further damage than that. Ferrari remains a contender in the Liqui Bathurst 12 hours. We bring our Michelin leaderboard to you. The 2 Mercedes looking imperious out in front, but you never count that Porsche out, still looking strong. There's the Clearwater Ferrari in 4th, with the United Autosports Audi going very nicely in P5. These are the class leaderboards as we work our way through hour 8 of the Liqui 12-hour. Lotus, BMW, Holden, Seat, and Holden in Invitational 3. Still looking strong. Thanks there to Maguire's. We're going to take a break at the moment. Erebus Motorsport looking strong for the Liqui Bathurst 12-hour of 2013. Welcome back to Bathurst. Plenty going on in pit lane. The number 12 car, David Calvert-Jones he's from America. He's originally from Australia. He's got an amazing job being a professional helicopter pilot for video shoots and filming, and in comes Clearwater Racing. So that's what strategy A we were talking about, right on the driver limit.
I reckon that's time. 3 hours and 3 minutes. so
Kerr and can we just say Kerr and indeed Ching for that one. Let's head down to the pit. Stephen Johnson is with Grant.
Yeah, and have a look at this, a brand new set of Michelin tyres, and not just one, Stephen, you've got 2 sets available for the rest of the day. Your strategy's looking pretty good.
Yeah, mate, our strategy's looking all right. We actually might have 3 sets, to be honest, but, you know, it looks like, you know, the Knights car's running good, and we've got probably another 2 stops to go if we can stretch it out that far. And, you know, Drew and Johnny done a great job. So I just did a massive stint then, you know, just over 2.5 hours, and it was pretty hot in there. So I'll jump in again next, do another probably hour and a half, and Johnny hasn't finished one of these races, or he hasn't done one before, so I thought I'll give him the glory and let him do the last stint.
And there is Steve's car, just going up the mountain straight for another lap. They've just quietly gone about their business. An uncharacteristic drop of the car early in the weekend in qualifying for Steve, as he, I think, downshifted one too many coming into the final corner. Maguire's locked up the rears on the Porsche and went around, didn't hit anything. But that car, we haven't called its name and its number very often, Rich, but sometimes that's not the worst thing in an endurance race.
Quite achievers, and they have just taken the lead in their class. So they've just jumped the Calvert Jones, Davison and Porsche. Drew Russell behind the wheel from Newcastle. So about...
Which Newcastle?
Newcastle, New South Wales.
All right, OK. Then I can talk to him.
Yeah, a couple of hours north of Sydney and a couple of hours across, you go to Bell's line of road across the Blue Mountains, then a little bit north and you'll find yourself at Newcastle. So Nova Castrian, his dad Wayne Russell, a fantastic long-time privateer here at Bathurst. He and his little brother Aaron both race in the V8 Supercar Development Series, the second tier series. Johnny Reid, Carrera Cup ace, and Stephen Johnson, son of Dick, the great man, and very, very accomplished V8 Supercar racer too. Oh, and there's dramas at the top of the mountain. That is the number 65 Daytona Coupe out of Melbourne, Australian-built car based on an iconic design and well and truly fenced at Falcon Tyres Elbow by the looks of it. And that explains why we are under safety car conditions. Oh, and that's what happened. That's a big impact. So wide at the apex of the elbow and hard into the barrier. And this car that was co-driven by, amongst others, Andrew Medicki in the Liqui Bathurst 12-hour. But it's cleared up. We're back to racing.
Well, across the line to restart with just on 3 hours and 31 minutes to go. The leader is Tim Slade in the 63 Erebus AMG Mercedes-Benz, and the Darrell Lee number 996 has got on the side, but it is in fact the GTR going in, and the rest of the field goes through. And wow, big move down the inside by Andreas Simonsen right across the start-finish line. Look at him go in that white car. He's having a real look. He's made up 3 or 4 positions on the track. It's not necessarily 4 places, but he's desperate to clear that midfield traffic, and that was a super race to restart by Andreas.
This battle is for position between Mark Eddy in the number 9 car and Andreas Simonsen, as you said, in the number 1. So Andreas looking good. Mark Eddy, a reigning Australian, well, he is a former Australian GT champion, not reigning, so he knows how to hustle these cars, and for the last 2 years he has raced this event with Craig Lowndes and Warren Luff.
1.2 seconds across the line separated Mark Eddy from the car that's now less than 1/10 of a second off his back bumper. That's how good a start it was from the guy in the number 1 car, Andreas Simonsen. He was absolutely awake and got his foot down perfectly to carve his way through that midfield traffic. Textbook stuff.
Yeah, it is. So this is the battle for a top 5 position in the race. 5th and 6th position at the moment. I think we can go back down to pit lane. Let's hear from our world champion. Shay is with Rob Huff.
I'm not the world champion. He's the world champion. Rob, welcome to Bathurst. What's it like to be here in a very different kind of car from what you're used to?
Yeah, you know, it's an amazing experience so far. I think the track is definitely in my top 4 legendary circuits that I had to do, and obviously the offer came over with Pete Conroy and James Winslow to get out here, and yeah, having an awesome time so far. Absolutely love the track. Everyone's so welcoming. The whole place is just beautiful.
Should we read anything into it that you're coming to Australia to race, hoping to get a ride here?
Yeah, you know, it's certainly on my box of lists to tick, and yeah, you know, I'd love to come out and do Aussie V8s for sure. I'm under no illusion I can just jump in a car and go quick, but it's certainly something I'd look to do in the future. You know, maybe get a couple of years in as a second driver in the Bathurst and the Gold Coast, and then yeah, hopefully maybe in the future look at doing a full-time drive.
Well, I'm sure you'd be fast in anything you jump in. Rob Huff, thank you.
FIA World Touring Car Championship for RML Chevy Cruze, and a change in position there. Looks like the 1 car's gone through there, Rich, and Simonsen gets Eddy, and that was an impressive piece of driving from literally just on 6 kilometres ago, carved through half a dozen or 10 back midfield cars between him, got on the tail of Eddie and then made the pass clean as you like.
I don't want to say anything bad about Primaert and Christopherson because they've done a great job, but for me, Andreas Simonsen, one of the standout internationals of the day, especially of the ones that are first-timers here to Mount Panorama.
Well, with Huffy, interestingly enough.
Yeah, for sure. He has done an outstanding job and has hauled that car back into top 5. The problem they've got now is the 3 laps between them and the 4th place Porsche with Clark Quinn behind the wheel. That's their next drama. It's going to be tough for them to make up any more ground, but
you can only do so much with strategy, particularly when you're not getting waved by. So, you know, they've got to stretch their fuel and try and stay out and stay out and stay out. And if there's safety cars, they've got to give up the option of going in under a safety car and just keep pushing until they're out of fuel, basically.
There is a better, changing the subject, than 50% chance of rain before 6 p.m. That is the forecast I've got. Of course, weather forecasts at this place mean absolutely nothing because
weather forecasts say it can go up as well as
exactly. So just about anything could happen, but there is a possibility of that sometime in our very near future. 3 hours 27 minutes to go in the Liquimoli Bathurst 12 hour of 2013. And boy, hasn't there been a lot going on 9 hours into the race. As we have our Michelin race recap, this is the Robinson Racing Developments Ford FG Falcon, the GT, bouncing across the chase and almost into the path of one of the leading Mercedes. This was a massive drama for GWS Motorsport, the BMW 130i. Certainly had 3 wheels on its wagon, and that tyre decided that it didn't want to go to those marshals. It just wanted to keep rolling some more. In fact, it wanted to go to its friends at Falcon Elbow, but it was even rejected by them. It kept rolling down Conrod Straight and ended up being a pretty significant piece of debris lying on the side of the road. It kept rolling some more all the way down Conrod. This was a key moment that would unfold the race for Clearwater Racing. Bang, into the side of the number 9 Audi went Mok Wen Sung, former Asian GT champion in the 458 Italia. A big moment for that car, and as we'll see in a minute, it's brought some additional repercussions. We had a safety car for the Daytona crashing at the top of Mount Panorama, just running offline at Falcon Elbow and into the wall. But this is the latest issue. We've only just caught it. The front splitter coming loose on the number 33 Ferrari, and that is going to cause some serious dramas for Matt Griffin, who is behind the wheel of that car. We're told it's been vibrating badly, and we expect them to need to pit very, very soon to get that fixed, as we confirm your race leaderboard for you, with the Mercedes continuing to pound around in front. Porsche and Ferrari battling for 3rd, and there's a trio of Audis in the fight there for the minor places inside the top 5 and 6. And there are our class leaders on the Michelin leaderboard here at the Liquimoli Bathurst 12 hour. Of course, Mercedes looking strong. Porsche too, the Hunter Sports Group leading the way in Class B. And this is Clearwater in pit lane. They've taken that front splitter off. This is going to change their race though, because that front end damage is clearly going to affect the performance of the number 33 Ferrari. So as they leave pit lane and rejoin the race with the Irish driver Matt Griffin behind the wheel, this has been a day of drama already.
Oh, and up at the Falcon Tyres elbow, we've got an issue with the 12 Porsche, and that is the second Class B car fighting its way back up the timing scoring, 10th position overall, and it is David Calvert-Jones, isn't it, that's at the wheel of that car. He's facing backwards, and he's lost it. Looks like he's lost it himself there, Rich, under braking.
Big hit too, could possibly be a SC. We're just on standby for that.
Oh, and what a big break that might be for the Mercedes-Benz of Schneider, who's in and gone. If that comes right now, he's going to get a lap on the field.
Yeah, he is. They're on standby now for safety car. The door's open. I think David Calvert-Jones is going to get out of that car. Definitely safety car if he does. Pointing the wrong way at Falcon Tyres elbow. And
that's terrible news for those guys in the top 10.
And safety car called.
And there is the erstwhile leader coming out of the pit lane, and in fact he probably hold on to the lead there, because that seemed to be a very quick pit stop. No, Holdsworth's gone through.
He will lose the lead.
Holdsworth's gone through, yes, sorry Paul.
Yeah.
So confirming change of lead. This is a replay of the CJ Racing Porsche going into the wall at Falcon. Let's go to pit lane. Here's Shay.
The 33 of Matt Griffin, that boy is doing an amazing job driving the car. The downforce loss from not having the front splitter has negatively impacted the car, but the time it would take to put a new one on dramatically decreases their chances of getting on the podium. They're just going to go and let Matt Griffin do what he can. Every driver that comes in the car will just have to drive at the edge every single time, but they decided it is not a good use of time to put a new front splitter on.
Thank you, Shay. Great reporting from down there in pit lane. Back underway, green flag out. Mercedes 1 and 2 at the moment. There's a couple of Audis looking strong. The race gets underway, but John, there is a long way to go.
2 hours and 16 minutes for the pedants among you, and the increase in noise in the background as Shea was talking to Bruce Giuani there suggests, as you might have guessed, that we are back under green flag conditions. Oh, big slide going round Griffin Bend for the leader there, and there is a little bit of a dark patch on the road there that I haven't noticed too many times before. It looks like someone has either laid a lot of rubber down, or there has been, or is, perhaps a little bit of fluid down on the circuit. Blue flags waving pretty much constantly up the cutting for the field as it streams through. Schneider was 2.5 seconds ahead of Lee Holdsworth as they crossed the line, and Schneider has got a pit stop in his pocket over his teammate. Should mention, by the way, as the new set of Michelins go on the 33 car, that tyres are not unlimited. You do have a number of sets depending what class you are in, and you have to manage that over the weekend. Little problem with the right rear as the gun doesn't want to switch to tighten from slacken, and now he can't get it off the nut itself. Now he's got it turned around so that it'll turn clockwise rather than anti-clockwise. No, I'm not sure. That nut hasn't gone on properly, and this is a disaster. They did not need to lose this time. The 33 car is still standing on its jacks as they're trying to tighten that
Swap the gun,
wheel
boys.
up. The wheel gun will not swap over. Give them another gun. There, it's not going on. It is not going on. That right rear wheel is totally recalcitrant. And this has cost now half a minute, I would say here, Rich.
Unbelievable, isn't it? So remember, third place on the line, the number 5 Porsche. Matt Kingsley is behind the wheel, doing 14s. They are struggling. Surely you'd swap guns by now, because that one's not doing the job. It's got the knot off. I reckon they've cross-threaded.
If they're in real trouble, if they have. We've had Ferrari wins, and now it's gone.
Safety car. We've got a safety car, guys, on the racetrack.
Get that car out, get him rolling. You do not want to be held at the end of pit lane. And they are, they're going to be. Let's see if they're held. Will we see them pop out of the end of the pit lane?
Yeah, they're
yes,
fine.
we have. He's out. Well, potential disaster averted, and that extra time taken, not then to... Oh, this is the class leader.
I know.
It's the 60 car, the class leader that has been bossing their class, the Little Lotus, all day. And, oh, that is a disaster for the One Cover Motorsport team in Class Invitation 1. The guys who've worked so hard to get that car even into the race, and it's run brilliantly all day. And heading up at Griffin Bend, they have a problem with the car that is going to require it to be pushed. Now, I don't think he's hit anything there, Rich. I think he's just come to a dead stop, and he's holding it on the brakes with the trafficator very helpfully showing that he's on the left-hand side. The marshal's giving the usual hand signals to push people over to the right, but he's in the blind spot. Oh, was there a moment of fire there from the engine? It looked like it struggled to go forward. Strange place to stop.
Real shame for the Motion Sport entry, looking well in the Maguire's Invitational class. A great stint from Matt Griffin, the Ferrari pilot. He's down in pit lane with Summerbow.
Matt Griffin joins me. Now we have to talk your splitter. Incredible driving from you, to be fair.
Yeah, it was really tough. I mean, the splitter became dislodged and was obviously vibrating, and it started off just a high speed, but then it was everywhere, and it was, doing nearly 300 kilometers an hour and not being able to see where you're going is tough. But then it broke off, which was fine, but they still made us come in just to check it. Obviously, with the splitter gone, we'll lose 90% of our front downforce, so up through the mountain was here's a place where you need front downforce, because you need, when you turn the steering wheel, you need the thing to turn, and it didn't so much in that last stint. But we're still to win it or top 2 is difficult, but we're still in a big fight for third. So I gave it absolutely everything I had out there, and particularly the last few laps of my stint were just like qualifying laps.
He drove hard. Our Michelin race recap shows the issues that Matt Griffin had with the front of the Clearwater Racing Ferrari. That is the splitter coming loose. Into pit lane they went. Lost them track time, and crucially they're a lap off the lead, and the car now understeering without a front splitter. This is the Phoenix Racing Audi. They had some dramas with the blades on the side of their car. This was the Calvert Jones, Davison and Davison Porsche run this weekend out of the McElroy Racing stable. Big impact at Falcon Tyres, and that will put an abbreviated end to their day. And the Ferrari team struggling with a slow pit stop, and last safety car for this car stranded at the top of Mountain Straight. This is the Michelin running order. Great battle going on. There's a tyre battle as well. Michelin and Pirelli duking it out. The Michelins have the upper hand at the moment, but there's a couple of Pirelli shod cars inside the top 10 and looking strong. And our class order continues to show the Rob Thompson Lotus looking good in Ridge's Class C. The GT4 battle, they're looking strong, and the local BMW has taken the lead in the V8 race production high performance class. The Liqui Moly Bathurst 12 Hour has more to come, and look skyward. The windscreen wipers on in the background. Starting to rain at Mount Panorama. Back with more right after this.
Yeah, down here in the pit lane, and managed to bump into somebody rather interesting. You usually catch him on two wheels. In fact, we're going to have to just hold up for this because I think they're about to do something. He's actually working in the pits. Now, the face might be familiar to many Australians. It's Warwick Nowland, who is more accustomed to two-wheel racing around this country. He's had a connection with Yamaha, who have a connection with the #1 Phoenix Racing team, and he's elected to be a mechanic of all things this weekend. Straight after this pit stop, we'll have a chat with him and find out why.
The reason I think of the pit stop is it started to drizzle on the front straight as well. There's just one or two spots on the commentary box window. Nobody gone for the... Oh, one or two brollies, in fact. I take that back. Going up on the bank side opposite our commentary box. And good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for your commitment. As we go back to green flag racing. There goes the Berdo car. He's at the head of the field and he's trying to stay ahead of the race leaders. They're going to Hell Corner now. Berdo's got the race leader right up the inside. He's going to have to be very careful that he doesn't turn in, and he does not. Give very, very respectful racing room there. And in fairness, Bernd Schneider didn't push the arguments too far.
I was just about to get political, I was, John, and say I hope we don't get all OH&S on us and just keep the thing under safety car when it's raining, despite the fact the car's on slicks. But I'm glad we haven't. It's a bit of a bugbear of mine, but we've managed to avoid that. So Craig Baird in the Clearwater Ferrari. These cars are on slicks. They are going up to a very wet part of Mount Panorama.
And you can see now that there's there's definitely spray coming off the back of the cars, and the Baird car, of course, without the front splitter, he's staying to the inside, and the leader's on the dirty stuff.
And it's Van Gisbergen, known for being amazing in the rain, in the Porsche, just behind, fourth position for third place in the Liqui Moly 12 Hour. So Craig Baird just holding out the Kiwi.
I think he's another lap back, Van Gisbergen, at the moment.
It's 2:34 apiece.
I'll give you that.
They're 0.4 apart, so...
it's torrential at the top of the mountain, and there's no way. And Gisbergen's lost the front end of the Porsche. He somehow gets it back. He's working the steering wheel. Those big wheels are not clearing the water at all. And now it's Aquaplane City up there. It's side by side at about 40 Ks for a position, and Van Gisbergen's going to unlap himself at literally 45 Ks over the top of the mountain. It's the slowest pass for position we've ever seen here, and it's remarkable stuff. The Porsche with a little bit more grip at the back, of course, but that means going down the hill he's going to have to be super clever and careful, otherwise he's going to turn that Porsche into the world's most expensive boogie board.
Yeah, one in the fence. The 27 GWS BMW has found the wall somewhere around.
Stopped.
I don't even know where it is, but it is torrential at the top of Mount Panorama.
Van Gisbergen goes straight on after, and he's not going to get that stop. He's aquaplaning. There's a bow wave in front of that car. He's now going to try and get it slowed down. Craig Baird is struggling as well, but he has got again back in front of the Mercedes-Benz, and it's hailstones. That looks like it's heavier than rain here. It's really big drops of rain, and that's coming. It's already hit the top of the mountain.
Yeah. This is utterly torrential.
Full course caution, I think. Full course caution is coming out for at least that 27 car. That's the car that's kept stopping anywhere. They've had terrible electrical problems on that machine.
Now, a group of cars pitted, and I reckon they went to wet. So there's a group of cars that are going to be in very, very good shape. But this is utterly torrential. And
it's survival now. It's survival to get back to pit lane.
Unbelievable driving across the top of the mountain there by those guys, just creeping round to try and get back. And I don't know how they're going to get back to pit lane with that. That's
Have you ever seen a pass for position done any slower than that?
It was great, John. Fantastic racing. That's number 13 BMW. McKelton, Linton and Fisher stuck at the top of the mountain. Let's duck down to pit lane very quickly. Here's Summer.
Harold Primat does meet me, and we're madly looking at the screens behind us. Talk us through it.
Yeah, well, it's just started to rain really heavy, and so it looks really close to impossible to drive, with the slicks right now. So the team have made a very good choice to put rain tires right now, a little bit in advance than anybody else. So hopefully we can make up some ground now.
You were the first with the wet tyres. How do you think Johan will go out there? Obviously, debutant here. Whole new terrain.
Yeah, I think it's to keep out of trouble, and hopefully, having put the wet now, hopefully we can catch up some of those guys. We lost a few laps for technical issues, so hopefully that would be good for us. But for sure, Johan is being tested a lot now.
In goes the safety car, and it is, I think, that Ivo Brücker's car that will lead them around, and he's outbraked himself. He's going to be on the grass. Keep your foot in, Ivo. Yes, he does. Everyone else checks up behind him. Ivo Brücker's leading Class E in 21st position. Restarts, and here comes the field.
And really smart by Christopherson, did not pass the Astra, because you are not allowed to overtake until you get to the control line, which is underneath the Liquimoli Bridge. So very, very smart job. But what would have happened if the Astra had ended up buried in the gravel trap, which I thought it was going to do? And this is messy, isn't it? Because a drying racetrack, some cars on different sorts of tyres, and the Lotus is in the fence.
No, this is the leader, the 60 car. We've just seen it being pulled back down the mountain, and it's got damage as it's come round to the restart. The one cover machine leading its category, the invitation category. I've got to say, I think I'd have been in for slicks at the restart of this race. I wouldn't bother to have gone round for one lap, but the safety car may save everybody's blushes, because I'm fairly certain that Hell Corner has claimed another victim there, Rich, as the restart, as you said, was very, very messy indeed.
Now, what's the far left-hand side of the screen?
Just crossing the line now is the show. Now, who was that getting airborne?
So, that was the Australian Mercedes. That was the number 63 Erebus Motorsport Mercedes.
Oh dear, and he's got a problem with the right front. The 63's got a broken steering.
The steering arm.
Lee Holdsworth is going to be in strife. He might not get that car back round.
And that's what put that car in the fence, the Lotus. But broken front steering from what we can see for car number 63. Lee Holdsworth behind the wheel. A friend and I have a saying, there's no such thing as a dull Bathurst.
Can I write that one down? There's
Certainly.
No such thing. Let's go down to the man with the best hair in the paddock. That's Brendan Hartley.
Well, what's so funny is that they're saying you've got the best hair down here.
Probably the silliest hair.
More importantly, number 6 in the rankings at the moment. There's no way that you're not in this, and we know that you're a test driver. You've got a lot of experience, and even though it's your first time out, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I've loved the experience. So yeah, first time in a GT car, first time here at Bathurst, and it's been amazing, and the team have been great. Teammates have been doing a good job. We got a bit unlucky in the beginning with the safety cars. We lost 2 or 3 laps, maybe even 4 laps from the safety car. We just didn't work out well, but we're still there. We've run a pretty faultless race, so we're still in it to have a good result.
And there is rain noted at the top of the mountain, so it's potentially coming in. It could be hard, thick, fast. It is about changing tyres, but pressure is a big issue of the tyres.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've never driven this car in the rain, but yeah, I'm guessing this track gets pretty interesting in the rain. It's pretty interesting in the dry already, so it's the same for everyone. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to be doing the end of the race, so there's a high chance I'll be in there when it's going to rain. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of a good thing. It throws up opportunities. There's more risk, but you have a good chance of moving up places. So yeah, fingers crossed.
So dramas for Erebus Motorsport. They're going to work, but they're going to have to put that car in the bunker. This is going to be a real challenge, and they're losing positions by the moment. The number 63 car. Let's go down and hear from one of their lead drivers. Here's Peter Hackett.
Peter Hackett, catastrophe, talk us through what's happened.
Yeah, we haven't got too much information from Lee just yet. He's obviously disappointed, but at the restart, you know, we know restarts build restarts, and looks like he might have broken a steering arm, which is a real travesty for us. You know, the number 36 is still going fantastically well. The boys are doing everything they can. We might still make a podium. We're a couple of laps up on the field, so just have to see how long it takes to fix it.
Not that it makes that at all okay, but I mean, you set your intention yesterday. You were fantastic and have carried it through today. You've got to still be pleased.
Hey, it's not over yet, you know. This place will throw everything at you, and this is just another Bathurst test.
Yeah, just another Bathurst test. It's thrown everything at us today, and now the weather as well. As we look at our 11th hour race recap, quite literally, that was the Clearwater Racing Ferrari down at Maguire's Turn. Big contact with the Eddie, Seaney, Meese and Grant, Audi R8 LMS, and then the pit work that followed. And some challenges for Matt Griffin, who put in a superhuman stint. It's now up to Craig Baird to bring that car home. This car in real contention for a strong result. Phoenix Racing Audi. Unfortunately, this one not so much. Calvert Jones Porsche spinning out of the race at Falcon Tyres elbow, right at the very top of Mount Panorama. There were pit lane struggles throughout today. Has been a bruising encounter, and this team was looking very good in their class before they were forced out with some mechanical dramas at the top of the hill. As we confirm our top 10 in the Michelin running order. Keep an eye on the Hunter Sports Group Porsche creeping up the order in Class B now, inside the top 10, and that team is looking for back-to-back victories in Class B at the Liquimoli 12 Hour. They have been super strong, and they're leading the way in the pedigree-sponsored class. And Rob Thompson looking for his first Bathurst class win in 6 attempts. Ridge's GT3 class in the Lotus. He leads the way there. The safety car will be in this time round. We'll be back to racing. Exactly 1 hour remains.
Oh, you're kidding me. I've just realised that.
We've just reset everything, though, haven't we? And it's a completely different motor race with a completely different set of circumstances. And Bernd Schneider, the German touring car legend, leads the field down to the start-finish line, and he's got Craig Baird right in behind them. The 63 car is still in pit lane. It has not gone anywhere, and that will elevate Craig Baird up the order.
And also the Porsche with Van Giesbergen at the wheel. So all of a sudden, the Mercedes from being second gets demoted to fourth.
And a good move there by both Van Giesbergen and Craig Baird ahead of him to get past one of the Audis. You do not want to be behind just a slightly slower than new car going around it. A very slow car, you've got a chance to get by. A slightly slower car on a circuit where you're not sure about grip, that would have been a disaster. And they're both through at Hell Corner and heading up the mountain. But Schneider's got a good jump on these guys. Remember, he's got laps in hand, but he won't want to lose them, particularly with these really tricky decisions that have to be made on tyres and the possibility of more rain coming in around about 20 minutes time. Still, the slippery surface, the red and yellow flags being held out. Sometimes it means debris. In this case, it for sure means still uncertainty over the grip, and there's little bits of standing water there, Rich. Oh, this is a disaster to try and make this decision.
Yeah, that's the very nature of this place as well. The water pools in places in the undulations around Mount Panorama, right there where Craig Baird is going through at the top of Mount Panorama. So that's why you keep wets on. That's why I'm not surprised anyone has dived into pit lane just yet. So Baird in the Ferrari. This is the battle for second position now. It will be with Lee Holdsworth in the Erebus car still sitting in pit lane. So Ferrari and Porsche, that age-old sports car rivalry for second place in the Liquimoli 12 Hour, with Mercedes leading the way. Bernd Schneider in an unbelievable position, but there's still so much racing to go. An hour of racing here, 25 laps, if not more.
Look how much time the Porsche took out of the Ferrari going through the Falcon Tyres elbow, as Craig Baird was fairly tiptoeing through there, trying to find some grip. Remember, he's got no front splitter on that car. That'll hurt him in the slower corners particularly. He'll be wanting more and more downforce, and he's got less and less. Great driving by Michele Rugolo as well, who is charging back up through the field and goes almost side by side with the 81 Audi. 63 cars back out, dropped down to 5th position, off a podium position. I'm been guided by one or two of our viewers and listeners who've had a look at that and have more mechanical knowledge than me. They think that was, rather than it being a steering arm, probably a bottom wishbone, because he still had control, some control of the wheel, but it was wobbling around enough to think that it might not have been completely connected. Just looking at some class leaders as they head up the mountain, the 44 Malrose Commodore has, I don't think it's been led at all, not even on pit stops. It has. Okay, hang on, let me find something. Okay, it'll have to be my head that I touch that is wood, as we've got a slow-moving Seat going up the cutting. Is he just staying out of the way, or is that the 70 car once again with issues as he's climbing very slowly up towards the top of the mountain? But the Malrose car, with those circuit maps on the side as its livery, genius idea, by the way, is proof again that this track and this race still has plenty of Australian atmosphere. That's a car that we just don't see enough of, those race cars in Europe, and I'd love to see Mal get his hope to come to Silverstone and race in the brick car. We had Mike Newton and Tommy Erdos try to race an ex-V8 Super V8 a few years ago, and they didn't quite get it to the end. But I tell you what, Mal knows these cars inside out. Back down to the pit lane. Weather still potentially could be playing a part. Here's Cher.
Tony Alford, you and the Nissan GTR just put slicks back on the car. They're saying 10 minutes to rain. What does that make you think?
Well, I think it's probably the right choice. It's too dry out there for wets at the moment, and secondly, we've got a four-wheel drive car, so we can probably go a lot further in the wet than those that aren't four-wheel drive. So it's 35-odd minutes to go. I think we'll last.
Well, you certainly have the most beautiful car in this paddock. I'm a sucker for pink cars, and adding the Nissan GTR in there is excellent too. Does it make you feel any more manly driving a bright pink car?
No more manly, but no less manly either.
Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
They do have the advantage, of course, of all-wheel drive. If it does drop in, as I think we've got another penalty coming on the start-finish line, and it is the 63 car of Tim Slade that's being called. And
that may well cost them another position, because Chris Meeson, the number 9 Audi, is not too far behind them, 51 seconds in fact. So it's going to cost them some time, and they're going to have to work hard to get it back with that drive-through penalty. Debris on the racetrack, drive-through penalties, and more rain on the way. Back with more after this. This has just gone up a notch, and Baird pulls another second out of Van Gisbergen in this fight for second, and the gap is now 11 seconds with 28 minutes to go. So much to play for, and I think this will be a battle to stay on the slicks the longest, and not stay out of pit lane, because you'll lose just as much time the first couple of laps as if you drop into pit lane.
Coming in first is Andreas Simonsen in the number 1 Phoenix Audi, just as he did last time, with the wiper on to show how wet it is out there. But he's decided, because he did this last time and it didn't do him any harm at all. He came through, it actually helped him get to the head of the Audi battle.
That was lightning on the pictures up the cutting there, and look at the trees being blown around as we're following the guys up the top. It's not raining up there at the moment, as Baird...
Rain reported at the back of the pits, John.
Oh, is it going to miss the top of the mountain? That's the big question.
Because here it comes.
You can look at the flagpoles on the start-finish straight, the Liqui Moly front stretch. Not just the flags, but the flagpoles moving. Even the street lights over the top of the start-finish line. Shea Adam is down in the pit lane in the weather. Is this like hurricane watch back home?
You know, it actually does feel a bit like that. I was just going to say maybe tropical depression, not quite up to a hurricane, but debris has been gusting out of the pit boxes, as you can see, all over. There is just garbage flying across this pit lane, and of course it's going to jump over the wall and then get out onto the track. It's been an issue for the cars coming into the pits because, oh yeah, you want your water bottle? Oh wait, there it goes rolling down the pit lane away. So this wind is picking up. There is a storm a brewing.
Well, in comes the Class B leader, by the way.
Yeah, and they've done an amazing job, and these conditions will suit Johnny Reid to the absolute T. He's the driver in that car. Kiwi Ace, he'll be loving this. While we've got a bit of a moment, I do need to send a massive thanks to Bruce Morrison, to Ross Churchill and all the team at Motoractive, Liquimoli Australia, for getting behind this event. Victor Goodyear to do it, no doubt, and thank you very much for your support. It's so important that alternate forms of motorsport in Australia continue to receive commercial backing, and we're not just talking about V8 supercars. As brilliant as they are, it's important that we have events like this for Australian motorsport to be strong. And congratulations and thank you to the Motoractive team for their work, and they have pushed this hard. They've done some wonderful things on social media, competitions, giveaways. They brought Team Exler down with the BMW, wonderful stuff. So thank you very much to the Motoractive team. 15.5 minutes to go. Roll off.
Is it not raining here? We've got heavy rain on the radar right over the top of us at the moment, and the dark clouds are surrounding us in an apocalyptic scene here at Mount Panorama, and yet we haven't got the deluge that we thought might have come maybe even as early as 5 or 10 minutes ago. But with 16 minutes still to go, we're not out of the woods yet.
About another 5 seconds faster than the leader. It's not possible, is it? Surely not.
No.
So
it can't be done.
A lap and 24 seconds. It's it's 2 minutes. So 60, 120.
He can feasibly get onto the same lap, but then it's going to take something that Roloff does wrong, or a breakage or something for Craig Baird. But that's not going to stop him. I mean, he's going to push as hard as he can, whatever.
Can we just remind ourselves of the class leaders, Paul, as we're looking at the Malrose car that has been leading its class for such a long time?
Well, the Malrose car leading I3, and it's in 13th place overall. We just talked about the Class B race, Class B leader having its final pit stop. Johnny Reed, that car number 30, he's in 10th place overall. Class C is being led by car number 62, the Nürburgring Lotus. That car, which has pretty much dominated its class for most of the race. Romano Sartori, Liam Talbot and Robert Thompson in Class C. In Class D, it's going to be the Peugeot, isn't it? But it's a long way down. Number 24 is not the Peugeot, it's the BMW in Class D. Number 24, the GWS BMW leading in Class D, because of course the Peugeots are in the invitation class, aren't they? And leading Class E is going to be number 3 still, the Racer Industries car, Damien Ward at the wheel of the Castrol-sponsored Holden Astra. In the invitation class, we talked about I3 being led by Malrose. In I2, the number 55 car, Motorsport Services, Malcolm Neal, Clint Harvey and Brett Neal leading in their Seat Leon Super Copa, and leading in Class I2, in leading Class I1 is the Peugeot number 21 of Bruce Ioane, David Wall and Andrew Jones. Those are your class leaders. As into the pits, John, comes the number 63 Mercedes.
Which I presume Tim Slade needs a new set of wets or a new set of Michelin tyres. He's probably burned them right through to the canvas. That's no detriment at all to the tyre, but he's been running them on a pretty much dry track for the past 45 minutes. I must ask James of Yeehaw, who writes the script for this race, because whoever it is needs a long holiday, some psychotropic medicine and a race, a huge pay rise, because this has been a barn burner from the start. A little bit scrappy to get going, but certainly plenty for us to talk about in the first few hours. Yes, we've had incident and accident that has brought out a record number of safety car periods for a record number of laps and a record number of time. That's the downside, but the upside is during the green flag racing, it has been absolutely intriguing. We've had speed, we've had excitement, we've had danger, we've had strategy that is still playing out, and with now still just on 12 minutes to go, the rain is starting to fall again at the top of the mountain. And Richard Creel, what is it always like this here?
Yeah, pretty much. This is just how it works at this place. How is it not torrentially raining down here at the moment?
See,
the weather map is showing pretty much the heaviest rain since Noah built his big ship a few 100 million years ago. But this is just remarkable stuff, and everyone just driving around on tenterhooks. We're going through and looking at all the various class leaders at the moment. We just ran through them for you before, but raining on Mountain Straight, so that answers my question, that with 11 minutes to go.
what do you do? What do you do with tyres?
No.
You stay out at this stage.
Damien Ward there. Let's have a look at this little Astra. How much is he struggling? There is the Peugeot in the pit lane, the 21 car, the best of the Invitation 1 cars there. Were battling so hard with the Lotus for such a long time, and the Lotus had the best of them, you know. They dropped down a few places now after that accident, which we're pretty certain wasn't the fault of the Lotus team. One of the Mercedes-Benz, in fact the 63 car, coming into contact on the restart.
Leader in the pits.
Leader is in the pits. Roloff is not taking any chances. Even if he burns the tyres now in the last 10 minutes, it doesn't matter. He should be able, as the rain is falling much heavier now, as you can see from the pictures on the pit lane, even if he burns the set of tyres, it's not an issue.
Ferrari in. So the Porsche team took the gamble early, and they've been punished badly because they've had no pace, but it'll start to come back to them. But I think the damage has already been done. I think they're relegated to third place. Out goes Roloff in the lead with wet tyres on.
This is looking to be something of a biblical nature. The raindrops being picked out by the high-intensity beams of the Ferrari 458 as it sits on its air jacks. Out goes the Aston Martin, and now here's the rush in pit lane. It's going to be absolutely manic down there. Nobody surely is going to risk it after what we saw earlier on. What about an hour ago now? Richard raises an eyebrow at me.
I think, John, both the next cars up, both the number 5 and the number 1, which were in 3rd and 4th places, they are already on wet tyres. So they don't need to come in. That's right. I'm fairly sure that the Phoenix car also came in early to get onto its wet tyres earlier on.
This is the class leader being pushed on the pit lane and being pushed out of the way so that he can service the other car, and this is an issue for the Invitation class leader. The Invitation 1 car, the 21 car in 17th position. Now, I'm not sure that the Lotus is still running after that incident. It's dropped back down.
Replay across the top of Mount Panorama. United Audi, is it? Yes, it is. Car 23.
I've got it. I don't got it. Oh,
Brendan Hartley
kisses the wall.
Wow, huge save. And that is the 6th place car, and it's not anymore. He's been passed by Peter Hackett because he's limping down. He's got broken steering. Or toe link in the rear end. So
yeah, no, it's the rear end problem.
Yeah,
I think,
it's smacked the car against the wall and bent the rear suspension, and he's crabbing down Conrod Straight at 50 k's an hour.
Looks like he's been set up for a quarter-mile oval, the way that car is coming down Conrod at the moment. And Brendan Hartley, what a disaster, heartbreak for the United Autosport team, for Paul Haig and the rest of the guys. And off goes the 81 car. Now that at the moment had fought its way all the way back up. It's had all kinds of trials and tribulations. Elton Julian at the wheel of that car, and that is at the Hell Corner, turn 1. Texting the folks back home, checking the weather, sending the messages to the loved ones down in the Erebus pit lane.
This has been a mighty drive from Craig. The Porsche, 3rd place. Look, we did not speak about them for the first 6 hours of this race. They just went about their business. I think the only thing was discussed was that they had a replacement driver, that Matt Kingsley jumped in for Tony Quinn, who was forced out early in the Australian GT race. It seems like a different lifetime this morning. So that's been the biggest story. They've just been workmanlike, driven round and round and round. Very stereotypical Porsche performance in an endurance race.
What you want for endurance racing is a boring white Porsche.
This is a Paul Trustwell truism. Yeah, preferably Swiss-ended, and it just turns around and around and around and doesn't attract any attention whatsoever.
It'll be the last lap at the end of this lap. So when they come on to the cross the start-finish line, when the leading number 36 Mercedes comes across the start-finish line at the end of this lap, it will not be the end of the race, but it will be starting its last lap. So 1 lap and a bit to go as we watch Alexander Roloff driving across the skyline and down into the S's. More traffic to deal with.
We've got to say a fantastic performance for the Nürburgring.com.au Lotus. They're leading Class C, GT4 class, and Rob Thompson, one of that combination, he's raced at the Nürburgring many times. His father passed away Thursday night, and Rob's raced his 6 times with no result. So this is going to be a hugely emotional performance for them when they get to that checkered flag in, well, a lap and a half really from here.
Rob Thompson, a regular visitor to our comms box at the Nürburgring 24, racing with a heavy heart this weekend.
But as that team have pulled together through that personal adversity and pulled out a result like no other. And the team's beginning to gather, Paul, on the pit wall now.
Exactly right, yeah. So it is, just to repeat, this is not the checkered flag, but this is the beginning of the last lap. The last lap, I don't know if they have a last lap board to show or how that will be communicated to the drivers, but this will be the beginning of the last lap. It is 18:59, it's 18 that time now, and although 7 o'clock comes up now, he will have one more lap to complete. So across the line he goes with the lap time of that lap, 2 minutes 33, and he's being closed in upon still by the Ferrari, Craig Baird. There he goes across the line now, but he is a lap behind, so even if he catches up on this last lap, he won't be able to catch up with Alexander Roloff, who will just be able to stroke the car home, but he still has to concentrate, John.
And if you're Baird, you've got to go by. If you are Baird, you have got to go by, because if something happened, and God forbid that would happen, on the way down the mountain the other side, if he catches him, he's got to go by to get back on the lead lap, because that Mercedes, you know, has to finish. And Berto is still pushing on at 28 last time around, 5 seconds quicker than the man in the lead. Bernd Schneider looking pensive, hands in pockets. All of the guys just holding their breath. And this is when it's awful being a teammate and you're not in the car, because you can't do anything at all to affect. And your car is 4 kilometres, maybe less, from winning the first big race here down under for 2013, the Liquid Moly 12 hours at Bathurst. What a day. You've just put it into words.
Aston Martin, St Gallen just going through there. They have had everything the mountain can throw at them and more. It has just been a remarkable performance. Bernd Schneider will add his name to the winners list at Bathurst for the first time and join the greats of touring car racing that have won here over the years. It just has been a remarkable performance. The officials, it's traditional on the outside of the S's there, that marshal's post, very exposed. And every year, that at the end of the race, it doesn't matter what race it is, leaning right out over the racetrack to cheer these heroes home. Conrad Strake for the last time. 2.2 odd Ks to go for the Liquid Moly Bathurst 12 hour. They predicted a 1-2 this morning.
Nearly got it.
John Heinhoff, but not quite. But this is going to be an incredible result for Erebus Motorsport. And you're our guest in Australia. Call them home, mate.
Oh, thanks, mate. That's an honour. Coming down to the final heavy braking area, Alex Roloff then turns left, then right. Don't get too much power over the top of that brow in the road. They'll be smelling it now. They've finally started to come out of the garage. They've been standing there. They didn't want to hex it. And now they come out onto the pit wall. The cameras are there. The flags are there. And AMG and Mercedes-Benz starting an Australian Odyssey in V8 this year. Start 2013 with a big win at the Liquid Moly 12 hours. And there is Berto coming through in second place, 1 place better than they achieved last year. It'll be Van Gisbergen for the number 5 Porsche coming through in 3rd position. And Crailsey, that is motor racing at its best. Look at the pit straight, look at the pit wall, look at the guys up on the mountain. Everybody being cheered home to a man.
Where is Betty? Where is Betty? Oh, she's going to be emotional after this one. Worked so hard to get this team up, so much investment. There's Melrose. The Holden made it to the line. That is just outstanding. And if there's anyone in tears at the end of this race, I think it's going to be Mel. What a day. We saw the Hunter Sports Group Porsche team come through and take Class B. So 10th outright. They were 4th outright last year. They've won Class B 2 years in a row. Well done, the Hunter Sports Group team.
Bernd Schneider, you just won the 12 hours of Bathurst in a car that you basically created. What's going through your head right now?
It's unbelievable. We are so happy. We are all 3 first time here in Bathurst. We heard so much about the circuit and it's so challenging. And in the beginning, we were really a bit struggling with the track. But during the race, the car was awesome and the Airbus team was unbelievable. The strategy was very good. The car was perfect. And I think we all 3 very, very happy, and we will have a big party tonight.
Thomas Jaeger, how about you? How excited are you?
I'm totally excited.
thank you to the team, because as Bernd said at the beginning, it was very difficult for us to come here, but then we improved step by step, and in the end, strategy, the mechanics did a great job, and we were very happy that we won the 12-hour race here.
Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, great result for Erebus. Fantastic job from Bernd Schneider, Thomas Jaeger and Alex Roloff getting home. Clearwater go one better than they went last year for second, with Motwen Sung, Craig Bed and Matt Griffin. And Clark Gwynn, Shane Van Gisbergen and Matt Kingsley on the podium in third place. But there are our winners. The Grinners all right. What an amazing day and what an amazing race it has been. And as usual, the mountain has thrown just about everything at Mount Panorama. On behalf of the entire team, more than 300 officials, our hardworking production staff and all the commentators, thanks for watching the 2013 Liqui Bathurst 12 Hour. We'll see you in 2014.
We're racing it down the inside. There goes the Clearwater Ferrari in the Hell's Corner, exactly as before. That's exactly what happened.
Speed Week returns next week. Join Mike Tomalaris at 5 o'clock for Cycling Central.
Real is not